The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, Week 2, NFL picks against the spread, game previews. What are you looking at on my screen?
How horrible my record was.
Yeah, it happens. When you make bad picks, you have a fucking shit record, pal. Anyway, picks against the spread, game previews, suicide picks with Geoff can't make because he's out of suicide already.
It's true.
SUPERLOCKS, free money. We got it all for you. The coin is here. If you out there want to help out the show, smash the like button to the episode and in the comments section, tell me your favorite over-under or spread pick of the week. If you are listening to the audio version of this podcast, rate it 5 stars. If you're feeling generous, leave us a review, all right? And remember to subscribe to Mayo Media Network. If you're watching this on a Wednesday morning, I'm doing a live golf chat at noon Eastern on Mayo Media Network. If you want to check that out, if you're listening afterwards, I don't know, you fucking missed it. Listen to it on demand or something like that. US Open Week, we have shows up for that as well, along with the full scope of fantasy football and betting coverage. You can find everything in the description that is already out of this podcast and video. The Listeners League link for DraftKings filling up very quickly for NFL Week 2. You can find that in the description. FTNBets.com. Use code Mayo if you're serious about betting this year. Why don't you use the tools and shop for the best lines possible? That's always a sensible move. FTNBets.com. Promo Mayo. Get yourself a discount. And we have 2 winners of the FTN Daily giveaway and the FTN Bets giveaway. Nick Hauser and Dave Jackson. Your money will be refunded to you. Thank you for signing up over at the FTN Network. Hope you win a ton of money this season. Well, it didn't cost you a dime. Well, it did cost you a dime, but you got all that money back and you have the entire year worth of football. I think college football is included with that too. I think that's everything I needed to get to right off the hop here. Trying to power through it, Geoff Fienberg.
I'm used to long spiels. We do the golf show.
Yeah, that was
giveaways,
quick. That was less than
things
2
to
minutes.
Get rid of. Yeah.
The coin is here, like I said. The coin tied you in picks last week.
It was ugly. I will preface by saying you haven't gone the records yet, but what, I go 5-11?
Yes.
I went 5-11, but on my documented picks I gave on Twitter Sunday morning, I went 3-3-1 and also was able to hit my super lock. So that in and of itself seems like a small victory because the big picture here was horrendous.
Yeah, it turns out Phillip Rivers sucks.
I seen the movie. I've been to that movie. I lived that movie. I acted in that movie.
Paul is on the ones and the twos, directing the cameras. And as always on the Spread Pick Show, if you have a hilarious moment to help us keep track for the end of the year that you see, put the time code in the comment section. That way I can clip it very easily when the time comes around in order to make a best of when I don't want to work on Christmas Day. The 9th member of the team, coming in hot. His name, Tim Cust.
That is not my name.
Heard you were getting a little teary-eyed there on the weekend, pal.
That's not quite an accurate depiction. There's a very dry basement, and anyway, it was not a fun game. What can I tell you? I don't even want to really talk about it that much. I don't think people want to hear about it that much.
Well, we have to go over our records from last week. So Geoff was 5-11. Tim, you were 5-11. The coin was 5-11. Pat Mayo, 12-4. Hot start to the year.
Chasing you
it's
down.
the best week I'm going to have all year, week 1.
I don't know. We can catch you.
Yeah, it's impossible to catch me with 16 weeks to go. Yes, correct. I once came back from you on 6 games in week 17 to beat you for the year.
Just saying, 7 games is we've spotted you a very healthy lead. Put it that way.
I feel like I've did this last year, like worse. Maybe it was like 3-13 and got it right back to 500 within like 2 weeks. So now I already in the hole, got to start the quest back to 500.
And I need to eat some humble pie because I had great feelings about week 1. I was very ice cold about it. There were certain games that I loved that I was dead wrong about. I was wrong about a lot of things. And part of this show is about accountability. And I'm accountable for the bad picks I made and the prognostications that I anticipated for the season. I was wrong about a lot of things. But I guess the best thing about figuring it out how wrong you are in week 1 is that you don't have to persist in your mistakes. You can switch things up and not be so wrong. Like for this week, I had trouble picking games I liked this week, for example, and that's just how it is. I'm second guessing and third guessing myself.
The Giants could not come through for Tim. on Sunday or Monday evening. So he lost his super lock for the week. Geoff, you and I both rolled Saints. Let's go Saints.
I had
a big money bet on that game.
Yeah, and I spent some time to watch it again after because I, like you, super lock. That means that will be the bet that I will probably be the most committed to. I wanted to see it again, and I got a lot of things to say because I was busy during that game.
Watching the Chargers in what is already at the very top of the list is worst game of the year.
Sure.
It was horrible.
Yeah, whatever.
It was horrible. And the early slate was so good, and watching that was just like tear your eyes out bad.
Listen, I don't watch to be entertained, bro. That's not... When I do other things, other television things, anything, it's about entertainment. When I watch that team, it's just hell or high water win. Nothing else really matters. We'll break it down. It's going to be long. It's going to be an ugly, boring year there, but we'll get to that.
You had more fun than I did.
Oh, at least, dude, you were... I heard about you.
Honestly, I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve that.
Well, we'll get there. Tim, your free money teaser, 0-1 to start the year. Lifetime. I had the record wrong last week. Your actual true record on the free money teasers is 6-68 lifetime.
That's a pity.
Yeah, I had it 5.
Of course, remember, you don't need to be even close to 500 to make money on these. But yes, fair enough.
Do you think Do you think that 62 games under 500 is profitable?
No, I do not. But I'm saying it sounds worse than it is. And if you bet that one weekend when I hit 2 teasers, you could have made a lot of money.
Okay, fine. But what's the reality? It's like...
That was 3 years ago.
No, but
that's the only thing he brings up is he once hit 2 teasers in one weekend 3 years ago when it was impossible to lose a teaser.
It was like a Thanksgiving middle Sunday or Thursday. All 3 games middled.
Honestly, let me have this. Just let me have this. I need this.
I want to bring it up again before there's the individual reasons to pick on you. Yes, I had a bad week, but I acknowledged on the show, I don't have a clue what's happening right now. You, on the other hand, were like so cocky that this league it's just so easy to figure out, and you had all the answers.
I had all the wrong answers. What do I tell you? Except for in suicide. I had the right answer there.
Yeah. Geoff is out after taking the Colts. Tim, you and I advanced. Tim took the Patriots. I took the Ravens. So at least I was on there. The blowout. That made me feel really good. Hopefully I can continue doing that. I'm not out in week 2, which I believe I was last year. First game, Thursday night football. Bengals at Browns. The Browns are favored by 6 points. 44 is the game total. Did you know that the past 16 games in this rivalry have been decided by at least 7 points? 13 of those 16 were decided by 10 or more points. 9 of them by 14 or more points. So this game just swings wildly one way or the other way for either team. So if you like the Bengals, might as well bet them to win. If you like the spread, because if they're going to cover it, they're probably just going to win. I actually kind of like the Browns here. Everyone, if you watch the Bengals, I think you felt like they were better than they were because Burrow got better as the game went along. He didn't look quite as rattled in the fourth quarter as he did in the first quarter. That they looked like a very competent team. Just week 1, rookie quarterback. The defense didn't look but maybe the defense is good. Maybe Tyrod Taylor sucks. And the Browns couldn't have looked worse in week 1. Like, if the Browns had just kept it close against the Ravens, they're probably favored by 10 in this game, aren't they?
I anticipate betting this game. I anticipate betting on Cleveland. You sort of alluded to it. Joe Burrow, you have to grade him on a curve. Like, that's the only fair way to do it. And by that, I think he had a very good game. You mentioned it was an ugly start. They kind of left him on an island. At least they left their left tackle on an island against Joey Bosa, and Joey Bosa made him pay all the first half, and Joey Bosa even made him hear footsteps on plays where he wasn't there. That being said, late in that game, Joe Burrow made a horrendous turnover, and then the next time he got the ball with the chance to win or tie it, he took his team right down the field and looked comfortable. So by all accounts,
perfect pass and got a very bad pass.
By all accounts, it was I think fine. I like to look at a guy in the huddle. Like, does he command these guys? And he looked like he had full control of it, and he was accountable after the game.
just like Tim was this week coming onto the show. And to say, like, he's an accountability buddy if you want to pair up with Tim on this. But at the same time, like, we were talking about the records, like, you guys are 5-11, I'm 12-4. I benefited greatly from a bunch of either pass interference penalties or non-pass interference, like Chicago coming back, the no call in the Rams game, the no call in the Bengals game, although that would have benefited me because I had the Bengals.
It was a call in the Bengals game. It should have been a no.
Yeah. So, like, all those, like, random things at the end of the games all actually went my way. So I'm waiting for just the shoe to drop for me here. But
I will say, outside of the Bengals, in my opinion, really didn't move the ball for almost 3 quarters. Their only touchdown was set up by horrible special teams penalties on both sides in a short field. But he got more comfortable as it went on along. I actually expect the Browns to win this game pretty comfortably.
This feels like a game they can just keep it on the ground. I want to see what their secondary injury report is, though, because, like, they had no DBs.
But the Bengals have injuries. They have injuries on their D-line, on their O-line that the Chargers are so they have injuries on their D-line, and the Browns running back should be able to take advantage of that, you would think. And Joe Burrow,
a kicker who faked an injury when he missed a field goal.
And Joe Burrow, I mean, we're talking about a guy that's been put in bad spots for first overall. We talked about it all offseason, the no rookie orientation, the no installation, the no rookie mini camps, the no training camp, the no preseason game, or at least any proper versions of any of it. Now, after his first game, a short week, feels like a bad draw again.
Against a team who just got absolutely demolished, too, and looked horrible.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe he could prove. I'll say this about Joe Burrow. By the end of the day, 1:00, I don't have any doubts who the best long-term quarterback in Ohio is, though.
Yeah, that's probably
despite
true.
Who I think who's going to win this football game.
So, Tim, we're both going Cleveland -6. The coin is taking Cleveland -6. Who are you taking?
I'm going to take the Bengals. There's too many points, like you said. I think Cincinnati's got the better quarterback. I think that the Browns are at risk of being like a week 5, let's trade everybody we can for picks type of team. I don't see much there to believe in. I didn't before the season. I didn't last year. I just don't see it. I think there's something that isn't gelling, that isn't clicking there. I mean, it's one thing to lose to Baltimore, a team that you were able to compete with last year. It's another to get just destroyed like that. What a lack of preparation that shows from a coach. Other than Gase, the Browns head coach did the worst job in week 1. Just abysmal showing from him. That's disgraceful from that whole team. And now you're asking me to lay 6 points at home. That's really not a home anymore because there's no fans. In a very, very short trip, you're asking me to lay 6 points with that team in division. I think that's silly. I'll take the Bengals. I would prefer to bet the Bengals to win outright. And we're going to tease the Bengals up.
It's going to end
as
early.
The first end of a 5-team money or a 5-team teaser.
So you're teasing them up to 11 points?
We are indeed.
12 points, sorry?
Yeah, it's 12 points. It's a 6-point tease.
6-point teaser for Tim. Going to be over. Well, this is always the fun week because you can always just double down on Tim's losing teaser after Cincinnati loses, then lose again.
Yeah. I'm going to bet Cleveland -6, and then I'm going to look for an alt line Cleveland minus
12.
Yeah. Just
like I said, these games are rarely close either way.
I don't want to be down a couple units before I lose money on golf, though.
I somehow doubt it will be the 58-48 shootout of years past.
I think that happened in 2006, Tim.
2004.
Holcomb?
Kelly Holcomb versus
Anderson?
Derek Anderson.
Yeah, no, it was Kelly Holcomb, and I couldn't have been Derek Anderson. It would be Kelly Holcomb and Carson Palmer.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's true.
You said, yeah.
Then Derek Anderson came in 2006 and made the Pro Bowl for the Browns. All right, let's go to Sunday. That's what matters. Kicking it off. San Francisco 49ers coming east. Tim had the Jets winning this game. They are now 7-point underdogs against the San Francisco 49ers, who are kind of banged up here. Like, Kittle may or may not play in this game. They have no receivers. Kendrick Bourne is the guy that we're looking at, who could be the wide receiver 1 for the 49ers in this game. 42.5 is the total. All lines from DraftKings Sportsbook, by the way. Tim, let's start with you here. The Jets, pretty good. When they have the first pick, do you think they'll take Trevor Lawrence?
So I'm not going to answer that question.
No, you have to.
I don't have to. It's week 2.
Jeff,
don't
who's
have
the
to
favorite?
answer that
Who's the
question.
favorite to pick first overall? It's the New York Jets.
Is it?
It is.
See, I was so curious if we could get updated lines today with Washington winning, with Jacksonville winning, with Carolina putting up a 30 spot. Like, okay, being competitive.
What is Trevor Lawrence going to do with this offense at the moment, the way it was designed last week? Is he going to make first downs on 3rd and 10 when you call a screen? Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's one thing to say Sam didn't play well, because he didn't play well. He threw a couple of really nice passes that got dropped.
Sucks.
But he also, he did. There was a bunch of drops from the Jets, but he also made a couple of, particularly that interception was a terrible pass. But again, Gase did not have that team well prepared. And it comes down to poor preparation again and again. That game, now Sam missed a wide open touchdown that would have made it 21-7 before the start of the 4th quarter, and they would have had some real shot in the game, but he missed it. Like, he had some bad mistakes. This team is obviously much, much worse than I was hoping that it was, and I can live with that. Okay, it is what it is at this point. I don't have ridiculous expectations for this team. I'm fine. This team I don't think is going to be the worst team, but I think this team is now closer to a 5 or 6 win team. It took a game for me, I guess, to have the blindfold ripped off and for me to take a stark look at reality. It was more like a Clockwork Orange being forced to look at it, I suppose, more than anything else, because I didn't want to watch anymore. It's like George C. Scott, turn it off, turn it off. That's sort of basically what that game was for me to watch. So now we look at this game. I was like, God, that's too many points for San Francisco, because they are beat up and they are traveling across the country. Why in the name of heavens would Kittle play? They don't need him for this game. Debo's not going to play. Like, this is a 13-10 San Francisco win or a 16-10 San Francisco win. Are we going to win this game? No, I can't imagine it.
You already picked them. You already picked them to win.
Yeah, well, I told you that I'm changing my mind on some things after this week. Like I said, I've come to my senses a little bit. I'm going to pick the Jets to cover, but I'm not with any great conviction. We're just in a bad place. We're poorly coached. People need to get fired. Greg Williams needs to get fired. On the defense, May showed some life and showed some real talent, and I was excited to see that. That was about it. Crowder on the offense made a couple of nice plays. He also got himself wide open for another touchdown that Sam didn't throw. So that was nice to see. But in the end, this is a very unsatisfying. They played very poorly, and I haven't got a whole lot of hope going forward. So it is what it is at this point. And in some ways, it's good, right? Like, I don't have to worry. I don't have to stress or get anxious or excited. It just is what it is. I can just sort of float and watch the games as impartially as I can and just kind of hope for the best and expect the worst. And
how many minutes did it take you to get here? Like 40 minutes. 40 minutes into the season, you were retreating on Twitter. You threw up the white flag 40 minutes in.
Yeah, I'd say that's about right. That's what it took for me to see. It was sort of like I was like in Plato's cave. I got to walk outside for the first time and saw what was the shadows on the wall and realized, oh my goodness, how wrong I was. I make no bones about it. I was wrong. It takes a man to stand up and say when he was wrong about something.
Does it take a man to watch a football team in week 1 of the 2020 season and be crying in a basement, according to all reports?
I heard about this. I
wasn't crying. There was a tear or two, but it was dry down there. And I don't know if I was blinking enough, to be honest with you. I think that might have been what was going on. And also, I was sort of forlorn. I was crestfallen, too. I won't deny that.
That's really pathetic. That is one of the most pathetic things that anyone has ever texted me.
Oh, please. I hear this all the time.
Paul, I just wanted to say that it took considerably less. The game started at 1 p.m. This says 1:25 p.m. There's a white flag that Tim posted. So 25 minutes. I mean, you could argue that why does Gase have a job written at 1:17 p.m. that he had already given up at that point.
You get the ball off a turnover. Josh Allen, who was sloppy with the ball and did not play to his potential. Josh Allen was the only reason that game was a 10-point game. If he plays like that, the Bills are in real trouble.
Well, there's also that the Bills stopped trying in the second half.
No, but he missed wide open throws. He was very lackadaisical with the football. Like, as a Bills fan, you're happy to get the win, but you should have been very, very, very concerned with how Josh Allen acquitted.
You know what I'm concerned about? as a
What?
Darnold supporter believer
Is that he absolutely sucks?
is that I had serious blinders on there.
Yeah, well,
I'm concerned. I'm very concerned.
Who's worse, Darnold or Baker?
I mean, you supported him first, Geoff, not me.
That's why I'm entitled to maybe have held on in my belief a little longer.
I still believe.
I saw so many horrendous decisions.
Maybe try not
by
throwing
him.
off your back foot every throw.
Yeah,
that could be a start.
The year is crucial, and Tim, here's your problem. Well, maybe not your problem. Maybe it's your out. It's not just Trevor Lawrence. There are other quarterbacks that will be worthy of probably top 5 picks next year.
Put it this way,
and you
in a
guys could
world
be
where the Jets have a pick-
forced into I don't know. It's too early to get into this, but I
No.
do like if you're actually the favorite to be first overall. That's funny to me.
We'll make the wrong decision no matter what we do. Doesn't matter.
Like with Darnold.
So what do you make? You're not even giving
in
the
a
Bills.
world where they fit in a world where they have the first pick. Yes, obviously. I still don't think that'll happen. I still think there are 5 to 6 wins on the schedule, but we'll see. I guess I don't know, but I think in terms of this game, I think the Jets are the right side, and it's for the reason I made it. Not because I have any great love for the Jets in this game. It's just San Fran looked very pedestrian against Arizona, and they're beat up, and they're coming into a game that how can they possibly be up for it? So.
They lost week 1. I think if they roll Arizona week 1, this could be a bit of a trap spot for them, but they're injured. I think they're just going to turn to Jimmy G just to kind of bump. Like, who are the Jets stopping? No one. They have probably the worst defense in the league. They have terrible players. Like, can they score on San Francisco's defense? Can they score a point? That's going to be tough. Maybe Jimmy G fumbles near the goal line or something like that, and the Jets can return it. And maybe it's not like they're going to be tackling. Maybe he just sees a reflection of himself, is enamored, too handsome. Let's go with the ball. 7 seems like a lot of points with how banged up the Niners are. But if they can get to 20 points, they're covering this. And I think they get to 20 points. So I'm taking San Francisco. So is the coin, by the way.
I will take San Francisco as well. Like you said, I think if San Francisco had won, even a close game, even a sloppy game, I probably inclined to take the points here, which probably does feel like a bit of value with the Jets. And I don't hate the idea of backing the Jets plus these points. I am just here to appreciate. I want to thank Tim because Tim's apologized. Tim has been accountable, but I have not seen the people who made the Jets the story of the NFL offseason be accountable. I have not seen the article. I have not seen the articles from these people who told me that the Jets that presumably exist, according to you, that the Jets were the story of the offseason. And I want to see where these people stand and the articles they've written about the Jets because they never existed in the first place.
Well, they did. That's a very fair point. And I can tell you that the Jets Reddit boards on Monday morning were very dark.
Imagine the type of loser who's on a Jets Reddit board.
I mean, like, it was just basically group therapy.
It's a sad existence, Tim. Why don't you pick a new team?
Very sepulchral, we'll put it that way.
All right, let's move on from the Jets. Far too much time. Bills at Miami. Paul had a good point about the Bills, who are favored by 6. We went from 5 to 5.5. It's now 6 on DraftKings Sportsbook.
They're a bunch of luck sacks.
41 is the why? Because they beat the worst team in football. That's fine. No, and now they have the Dolphins in week 2, who also did not look very good whatsoever. The Bills are favored by 6 in Miami. Paul, you said it best. Like, even if the Bills go 2-0 here, you have no idea what the Bills are.
No, we played the worst team in the league week 1 and probably a bottom 10 team in week 2. It's not until I think we play the Chiefs in week 6. That's when we'll know. Hopefully Josh doesn't fumble twice in the red zone. Like that should have been an absolute smash job against the Jets. I don't have the schedule.
Play the Rams next week at home where they will be underdogs.
That's a soft team. We're going to beat them up.
They will not be underdogs.
Yes, they will be. Yes, they will be underdogs. The Rams are becoming a very public.
Do you want to bet?
Rams had so much steam that they were favored over Dallas, starting as a +3 home dog.
Yeah,
because
that was just like a sharp
against Dallas.
That was more like a betting thing and a Sunday Night Football. The Rams, the Bills being 2-0 at home, the Rams will have then had their back-to-back East Coast games. They'll not be favored. I'll bet you right now that I guess we have to assume both the Rams and Eagles. If the Rams and Bills both win, I will bet you that we have a standing bet that the Bills will be the favorite next week. You say the Rams.
Like the Rams go into Philly next week. If they go into Philly and win, and they beat Dallas and Philly back to back,
I don't care. People were high on Buffalo before the year, and then all they go out and do is win the first game of the year in a pretty handled fashion, and I expect them to cover this game here. And one of the things that made me sad on Sunday, like minus football is just such a different game from like not being with, if you don't have a favorite team like and you're not with your friends, well, it's like a profession for you. It's a little different at this stage. Football is like I would caught myself like watching Wingfoot flyovers in the 1 o'clock.
Are you serious? I had 8 games going at a time. The early slate of games was great. That Vegas Carolina game, I was all in on that game. I was all in on the Bears coming back. I wasn't talking about not playing with Phillip Rivers for the first time in X amount of years. How do I put it? Since before Phillip Rivers was the Chargers quarterback, I was in the same place week 1 my entire life, and I wasn't there this week. And it just took my soul away. It's funny because everyone else I talked to had the exact opposite reaction. Everyone was so fired up for the kickoff to happen at 1 o'clock. Like I've waited for this for so long.
I watched way too much of the Dolphins because they played Patriots.
Oh yeah, you were watching with gubbed out Patriots fan.
But I do want to say,
Dolphins fans,
on a real life thing that had nothing to do with me, my heart hurt for the great people of Buffalo for the party that they didn't get to have. And what would have been going on? What would have been going on there as they just papered the Jets? Week 1 on a beautiful fall Sunday at Orchard Park. Oh, the internet videos we would have gotten. We lost out of that. Anyway, this Bills team, I think they present a recipe that can just take advantage of this game. They'll win this game. They'll cover. Yeah, they'll be 2-0 at home.
The big thing with the Bills, I mean, Josh Allen threw for over 300 yards the first time in his career in week 1, so that was impressive.
And he made his sloppy mistakes. He'll be fine.
That's what he's going to do. You take the good with the bad with Josh Allen. Hopefully that there's more good than bad. And then hopefully the defense holds its end, which they did. Although they do have injuries at linebacker, but I do think that their running game is going to be superior to their passing game just because of the dimension that Josh Allen can open up. And now with Moss, now with Singletary, that you can really run all over the Dolphins. Like, realistically, they have 2 great corners. And if the Bills don't have to pass, they're not a team that's going to force passing just because.
Who's making plays for Miami?
I mean, Devontae Parker may or may not play. No, he may or may not play.
That'll be a problem.
Gesicki's becoming a playmaker too. He made a couple of really big catches in this game.
Okay,
I'll just
fine,
let my cards out.
I
like Miami in this game.
If Gesicki is, I like him as well. But I like him as like a low bargain, like fantasy pickup guy. If he's like a primary guy against a defense as stout as Buffalo's, I believe that will be a problem. This also goes back to the fact I feel last year, Miami, for all the great things they did, they underachieved. And while I believe they're probably overachieved, while I believe they'll probably be a better actual football team when this season is over, I don't think that will necessarily show in the win-loss column. And this is not a game that I see as winnable for them, at least in my opinion.
In the last 6 times these teams have played, Buffalo has posted 22 or more points 5 times, while Miami has scored under 22 points in all 6 of them.
Won't there be fans? There's a lot of fans.
Yes, there will be.
Well, yeah, they actually are opening up Miami to 100% capacity. You just wouldn't notice because that's all their fans.
Yeah, the one time I went to a game at Hard Rock, it was not a very raucous and rowdy atmosphere. I'll put it that way. But nevertheless, I just think, I don't know, I don't trust either of these 2 QBs. I think they're incredibly turnover.
So Sam Darnold, good. Josh Allen, bad. Is your stance?
I don't think I said that. I said I think both these QBs, Fitzpatrick and Allen, are very turnover prone. I thought the Dolphins defense, given the onslaught they took last week, held actually pretty well against the Patriots. I actually thought that was a relatively impressive showing. I think the Patriots got a much better offense, whatever Buffalo thinks it's rolling out there. So Yeah, give me the Dolphins and the points, please.
Yeah, I'll take Buffalo -6 on the road here. They won by almost 6 points per game on the road last year, which is kind of incredible. They were really good away from Orchard Park. Defense tends to travel really well. Running tends to travel really well. Did you think that there was more? I think it was maybe in the early slate, Geoff. I don't actually have the numbers on it. Didn't it feel like there was a lot more scoring than we were used to? Like, it felt like a lot of overs were coming through in the early slate of games. Like, the road teams, without all the crowd noise, like, they were able to execute their offenses a little bit better.
Yeah, even Aaron Rodgers says the first time he ever heard like casual clapping from the sideline in his life.
Is that because most people just boo him?
No, I just means like it's so weird. Like, it is startling even for players. They're experiencing things they've never experienced. Yeah, there's no. It really, you could argue, takes a big variable out of the game, and it's coaches versus coaches and players versus players.
Yeah,
and I
Seattle,
guess the refs are the overriding thing in all of it. But
Seattle, Oakland, and the Packers had no trouble scoring on the road last week. So if you have an offense who can put up points, the road is not nearly perhaps as intimidating as it once was, because just the crowd noise can't get piped loud enough to disrupt you.
Paul, how do you feel about Tim's like very anti-Buffalo bias here? Are you worried that like after they beat the Dolphins or if they beat the Patriots in a few weeks, just like all of a sudden he's going to be all on board with the Bills?
Yes. Just keep the same energy week in and week out, Tim.
Honestly, at this point, if I had to pick, I would
this
pick
taken
the
under
Patriots
control.
over the Bills and would be happier if the Patriots won the division than the Bills. At least they'd earned it.
No one believes you, Tim.
Yeah,
least
please
they've
don't
earned
jump. Please don't jump on us.
Would
Please
you say
don't
the
jump
Bills
on
have-
us after this week? Okay.
Do you say that the Bills haven't earned it because they only beat the worst team in football?
I think people are getting very excited about a Bills team that got very lucky to face a Jets team that didn't bother to show up.
They showed up. They're just bad. Like they have bad. When you have bad players, you're not going to win football games.
They certainly played badly. I don't know why we're rehashing this. It just makes me feel sad.
Good. You should feel sad. Your horrible preseason comments. 15-1. The Jets are so good. AFC East winners. Oh, here's another Tim team that got cursed in week 1. Lions at the Packers. Lions fans not too impressed. There's a lot of fan bases out there who are not too impressed with Tim at the moment. The Lions, not quite the Broncos, but very close to that list.
Fans, I heard from a lot of Bronco fans as it pertained to Tim.
-6, the Packers are favored at home in this game. 49 is the over-under. Would you believe me, Geoff, if I told you that the Lions have covered 6 straight games against the Packers?
That seems weird, but I remember a late season import. Yeah, I don't know, when you sort of try to piecemeal it, do you remember a lot of close games?
The last time the Packers scored more than 23 points against the Packers was in 2017. For whatever reason, these teams just play each other really close. And maybe that's
divisional teams. That's why they know each other. That's why.
Can I talk or are you talking? Oh, I forgot. This is the part of the show where Tim hosts. Go ahead, please.
I mean, it's that they are divisional opponents and they know each other. The referee screwed Detroit out of a victory on Monday night last year. And, if it weren't for a Lee Evans situation, the Lions would be 1-0 and this would be like a 4-point spread. But Swift dropped it. Very concerning for those of us who picked the Lions to win the division. I don't know. What do you think, Geoff? I think the Packers are in trouble. I think the Packers are a little bit too favored in this game. I think there's some value on Detroit.
I'm going to take Detroit plus the 6 here. I don't love it. I'm actually really concerned that it's going to be a lot of weeks of Aaron Rodgers FU mode.
I don't buy into that shit. I'm on Detroit here with the points as well.
You don't buy into
I don't buy into
Aaron Rodgers.
No, I don't buy in that people were mean to him, so he's better now. He's the same as he always was. He's good.
He does bear grudges, though.
I don't know, man. This guy has got a list, and he crosses names off with lipstick.
That's such a ridiculous statement.
No.
I mean, it is true that he does that, but I don't know if it affects his game.
Okay, fine. I agree with what Tim said.
He certainly holds grudges and, doesn't let things go for years on end, but I'm not so sure whether that, makes him play. I mean, he already plays angry.
Great player playing
Yeah, great player plays
great. Player playing great.
So the years before the grudges, when he plays bad games, he intentionally played badly?
I don't know, but it's always good. These guys, it's a good kick in the ass at maybe a right time in his career. That's all. And I think shit like that matters.
It doesn't, but sure.
There was something else stupid like that I wanted to say.
Hey, maybe.
I got so lucky. That Bears comeback, I thought I was dead. I went 5-11. I thought it was going to be so much worse. I thought I was going to be 0-5 with my documented or the picks I gave on the internet on Sunday morning. I got the Bear and Redskin comeback, and I got out of the morning 2-3. Whew.
Yeah, sometimes when you're staring 0-5 in the face and you can just 2-3 is really
felt
good.
like I went 5-0 when you went 2-3.
The only bet I had on that game, I had Anthony Miller over 3.5 catches, and he had one until like the final 2 drives of the game. Then he caught the game-winning touchdown. I was like, oh, perfect.
I even had the Bears money line. I don't know. I felt like a sucker for quite a while, but I guess it all made sense in the end.
Tim, how you feeling about our Arizona versus Detroit win total bet?
Well, worse because the Lions gave away a win. They had the game won. It was over. Stafford had led the comeback.
Doesn't feel like it was
What
over.
are the odds of somebody dropping a winning touchdown? Like 1 in 1,000. It doesn't happen very often.
Those
So
I would say 1 in 1,000 is probably a bit long odds.
We'll get there.
It's very hard to remember how many times people have dropped wide open game winners. I said I can think of Lee Evans in the championship game, and then I'm trying to think of when the last time this was.
Well,
when Johnson did it.
Reese Caldwell did it in the Colts-Patriots game with his raccoon eyes.
Yeah, eyes wide open. Reese Caldwell.
Like
how often do games end with wide open people touchdowns? Like it never happens.
People secure those touchdowns semi-frequently. Like probably once or twice a week a game ends. Or once every other week a game ends with a guy catching a touchdown close to at the gun to win.
So if that's the thing, if it happens once,
they're not wide open.
So if it happens once every 2 weeks, let's say, and Tim can recall like 3 things from the past 10 years that have happened, I don't think 1,000 to 1's the right number there.
Fine. If you want to call it hyperbolic, that's fine. Maybe it is hyperbolic, but it doesn't happen very often that a guy drops an easy bunny game winner. We should be 1-1, but we're 0-1 and 1-0. And I felt bad for Lions fans because, of course, they've gone through this 1,000 times. So I feel your pain. My pain is worse, but I feel your pain.
So quarterbacks, I was going to say, it'd be fun. I was trying to make a joke, but they're such different quarterbacks that there's no even joke to make about like potential quarterbacks on the market, and one being Aaron Rodgers and the other being Sam Darnold. But there's nothing there. I'm sorry.
Are we all taking Detroit?
I like Detroit.
The Detroit +6. The coin is going with the Green Bay Packers. Are we doing that thing where we just don't take the Packers every week and then they cover every week?
I'm worried about it.
I'm not going to bet this game.
I'm worried about it.
This next game I am feeling pretty good about betting. Minnesota at Indianapolis. Vikings are 3-point dogs on the road in Indy. 48 is the over-under. I just like this as a big bounce back Minnesota spot here because I don't think the Colts are all that good. The Colts just want to dink. They want to dunk. T.Y. looks kind of washed. Paris Campbell might be their best player. Their offensive line is banged up. If there's one thing that the defense of the Vikes did do, besides not giving up points, they did a lot of that. They were still able to pressure the quarterback. Rodgers was just able to get out of it. Rivers can't. He's going to turn the ball over a bunch because that's what he does. He is, let's see here. What do I have? Rivers has failed to cover 7 of his past 8 games and is 1-6 outright as a favorite in the last 7 contests. Whereas the Vikings are 7-2 in their last 9 games after the under went in the previous contest with the team. So I like the Vikings here. I think it's just a nice rebound spot for them. People have kind of like written them off after 1 week. They're just a team that looked bad in week 1. I don't think that they're a disaster. I like them going into the season. I wasn't encouraged by what I saw in week 1, but I'm not willing to write them off yet. I think they're a better team than Indianapolis. So give me the points +3, Indy on the road, or Minnesota on the road. Geoff.
Colts -3, real money.
Are you going to pick the Colts every week like you pick the Chargers every week?
No, not committed to that one bit. You will not see that. You will not see that.
Well, they've already knocked you out of Survivor.
I gotta say, I want to give myself a little credit, or I'm lucky. I actually didn't even play a Survivor this year.
There you go. Saved yourself some money. The coin's on.
I
Indy.
guess. I don't know. Yeah, I'm out of our hypothetical Survivor. Will not be picking the Colts every week. If one of these two teams are going to bounce back this week, it is the worst Indianapolis.
Team? Yeah, the worst team's going to bounce back. That makes
sense.
But
I'm actually quite concerned about both of them. And one of the greatest tweets I saw on the weekend was someone tweeting that who knew Rivers going to Indianapolis would ruin 2 offenses.
Minnesota was doing all right until that safety. And then
but all that was very early in the game.
But they were like,
They made a great goal line stand.
They looked great on defense. They were moving the ball on offense at will, and then they take this safety, and like they were absolute dog shit after that. So, Tim, I am sure you're going with Indy because you're like the biggest Vikings hater there is.
Nope, I thought you made a compelling case, and I'll take Minnesota. I agree with you. I think this is a critical game for me. More critical for Minnesota than Indy, because if Indy starts 0-2, well, that's bad, but like the Texans are going to start 0-2, and they're going to start 0-2, and the Titans, as we saw last night, are, let's say, offensively challenged to say the least. And looking at who they've got this week, they could very well lose themselves, and they could be 1-1. Maybe they won't, but then maybe they're 2-0. But even still, that's a team that you'd rather chase than the Texans. I don't know. Whereas the Vikings get down in this game and things they could get in some trouble. So I don't know. I like the Vikings in this game. I think they probably win.
This is the game. This game and the Dallas-Atlanta game are the two games that I'm most intrigued about seeing. I think any of these teams starting 0-2 would be trouble. Although Dallas's division is probably an easier one.
I'm with Tim. If Indy starts 0-2, like it's not that big of a deal. That division's not that good.
Yeah, and you still have your head-to-heads versus Tennessee, who still seem like they could be a pumpkin.
But they also could just be. They could do
this for.
They could go 13-3, winning 2-point games,
doing this exact game script. Yeah, absolutely.
Like they should have won by a lot more on Monday night if Tim hadn't cursed their kicker. That was a real clash of the Ander curse with Gostkowski missing everything, but him also cursing the Broncos.
It's like the thing with the Ander curse is, yes, you assume it affects like the short range period. It could have dramatic effects, but it's like a disease that hasn't been fully scientifically researched, where there's still like lingering, I guess, antibodies in the system that from the past that can always just rear their ugly head.
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest mistake Stephen Gostkowski ever made was shaking Tim's hand the day before the Super Bowl. Not a great move on his part. His career has basically been over since that moment.
It's like that Nixon Elvis photo where they shake each other's hands and everything goes downhill for both of them as soon as it happens.
So Minnesota for Tim and I, Geoff and the Coin are both on the Colts -3. Rams at Philadelphia. This game opened with the Eagles as the favorite on Monday. Quickly got bet around to the other side. The Eagles are now a 1.5-point dog at home. The Rams, the over-under is 46 in this game. The Rams have won 6 of their past 7 games in which the spread is less than a field goal. And the Eagles the past 2 years have not been good early in the season. They were 1-4 to start the year against the spread in 2018, 0-3 to start the year last year. But this spread kind of has me worried, because everyone just watched the Rams. Yes, they probably should have lost that game to the Cowboys with that bullshit call at the end. Like, at least they could have tied it up. Maybe it goes to overtime. And if anyone, maybe just people didn't watch the Philly game, but like their offensive line was horrendous. It was banged up, and they lost to Washington. Yet they opened as favorites, and it's still only a 1.5. I feel like I'm getting too clever with this by taking Philadelphia, but something just smells off here.
I want to ask Geoff what he thinks about the Rams spending all kinds of money he didn't think they had on guys like Ramsey, and like they've just been opening the hose. I thought they were cash strapped.
Well, they don't have much depth. I knew they had the money to sign Ramsey. They made that commitment. They traded the pick. They were negotiating to sign him, but they are in trouble.
Yeah, they lose one or two guys. They are a house of cards, and they're bad.
The public and the Sharps love them though.
No, it was a situational play on Sunday.
It happened again this week. Philly opens the favorite, and what happened here?
I just want to say, even I did the show last week, picked Dallas, but it came to Sunday. I showed you a parlay I had. Like I had the Rams on it to end the day. It just felt like the right play as the week progressed. That can happen. The advanced line on this game was probably the Eagles favored by more than a field goal.
I think it was 2.5.
So we've moved over a field goal essentially here. I'm going to take the Eagles. I don't know whether I'm trying to be too smart like you, but give me Philadelphia here. I hope they can band-aid their problems at the moment.
Who has a better front seven, the Rams or the Washington Footballs? Because I might say it's the Footballs.
The Footballs
it's still the Rams.
The Rams have the best player of those 7, but I think just overall, like, did you know that Washington blitzed more week 1 against Philadelphia than San Francisco did all last year?
I didn't, but I'm not surprised. Listen, Ron Rivera is a brilliant defensive coach, And Jack Del Rio, as much as we don't like him very much for his sartorial choices, is a pretty good defensive coach. So I wasn't surprised, I guess, that they were able to dial up a pretty good defense for a pretty predictable offense. McVay is a much harder coach to plan for with the weapons that he's got. I mean, I respect Doug Peterson, but I think that the Rams just have more weapons. And I like this Rams team quite a bit. I thought they'd make the playoffs to start the year. I still think they do. Dallas could very well lose this week. So Philly being 0-2, what you're worrying about Washington? I mean, sooner or later, you're going to catch them again. So, yeah, I mean, I think the Rams win. I think the Rams are the better team. The public agrees, and the Sharps agree, because all the money's coming in on the Rams. It's going to happen every week. I predict that every week until the Rams get punched in the face and they fall down, that everyone's going to want to back this Rams team. They're really exciting and fun to watch, and Goff is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in football. Give me this Rams team. I like it. I like it a lot.
Paul,
can I just say one thing? When they say the Sharps are on one side, it's like the Sharps are on both sides of these
Thank you,
games.
Paul.
I know that's something I stole from Pizzola. If anybody hasn't seen that episode that he did with Pat, it was very good. But like, yeah, Sharps and Squares like both sides of pretty much every single game. People disagree all the time.
Okay,
especially early in the season. Yeah, you know what? Paul and I updated the graphics at 3 p.m. before we started recording, and we took the spreads from earlier this morning, and Paul, 9 games had wildly moved?
Oh, they had moved a mile. Like, we're talking like 2 points on totals, like at least a half point on everything. It was done last night and then rejigged, and then they've changed again in the hour in between me creating them and you doing the show. So
yeah, you're going to see, especially with books are really trying to get out ahead of putting out lines right now. Like the DraftKings Sportsbook odds, I think we're up on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, stuff is going to move. Like, if you have a good feel for a game, like, of course you want to watch the games on the Sunday, but if you do have a strong lean on a game, go bet it on like right after the 1 o'clock slate, because the next week lines are already out if you want to go bet them. But I'm going to take Philadelphia in this game. Mainly, I think their defense, especially on the ground, is still quite good. And one of the ways that the Rams were really able to establish everything, I know establish the run is a weird way, they were able to kind of dominate on the ground against Dallas. Dallas was dealing with a bunch of injuries to their defense. I mean, Van Der Esch is going to be out for a while at this point. Philadelphia is not a beacon of health, but at least they're healthier on the defensive side than anything else. And you still have Slay back there who can take away your primary option, whether they choose that to be Kupp or Robert Woods. And if Malcolm Brown can't get going, Cam Akers can't get going, Darrell Henderson can't get going, this is just going to be a really sloppy type of low-scoring game, it feels. And Wentz was good for a quarter and a half, and then he was terrible for the rest of the game. But Miles Sanders should be back for this game. That's a huge boost to both rushing and receiving out of their backfield. And I think the 2 tight ends, Goddard and Ertz, are going to pose serious problems to this Rams defense, what are they going to put Ramsey on Dallas Goddard? No. What's he going to do? Take away Deshaun Jackson? It's one of those situations where not your best defensive player, your second best defensive player kind of gets rendered inert because of the offense that you have. So I like Philly. Plus 1.5. And I think if you do want to bet Philly, you're going to get this at 2.5 or even 3 by the time kickoff comes, because people just watch the Rams beat the Cowboys on Sunday night. They're going to bet the Rams. Like Tim.
Okay, but they were betting the Rams before that too.
I mean, I bet the Rams.
My point. Takes a lot to move that kind of money against the Cowboys.
I don't think you know what you're talking about.
The Cowboys are the most popular team.
Okay,
I know
realize,
I know exactly what I'm talking about.
As someone who barely bets and doesn't understand betting markets, you seem to have a lot of opinions.
No, I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Specific point.
No. I'll tell you why you're wrong. I don't care if it was Jags Bengals. Sunday night, week 1, that line is moving. Like, that line is going to move. It is Sunday night, week 1. Doesn't matter who's playing. Yes, the Cowboys are important, but every game in that league, when put on TV and Sunday Night Football, how it pertains to being after a day of degenerates gambling all day, will always see the line move. That's just the nature of Sunday Night Football. It's like you've never seen it before.
Very rarely moves against Dallas. Very, very rarely. Who has been one of the most hyped teams in the NFL. Just saying, if your question marks weren't up, I'm dubious.
All right, so good. You got something right. You got something right last week.
Did he? Did you?
All right.
Did you even pick the Rams? Because I picked the Rams. I think he picked the Cowboys.
He picked the.
I picked the Rams.
Okay, good. Jacksonville and Tennessee. Saxonville is back. You idiots were all on the Colts when Minshew Walk was decided to be on.
Didn't even have garbage time. He just won the game.
I won't make that. I won't make that mistake twice.
One incompletion all game. The Les Titans are favored by 9 points at home. 42.5 is the over-under. Here's a fun Minshew stat. As a starter in his career, he is 8-5 against the spread, and the over has hit in 6 straight Jags game that have had a total under 64 points. 46 points, sorry. I was going to say over 64, that'd be a lot. 46 points. Anytime that the over-under for the game is under that, if the Jags are involved, they go over. Like, they're not as inept offensively as I think that people think that they are. Their defense, not good, though. Derrick Henry might rush
Tennessee can't really take advantage of it.
I don't know. If you give the ball to Derrick Henry 35 times in this game, you might just win by 20.
Maybe. But, I mean, I watched that Titans game, and I was very, very unimpressed with the offense and the special teams. I mean, they have a kicker who missed 1,000 field goals.
That's your
and
fault.
a
I'm sure
quarterback
he'll do that again.
who did not look sharp at all. And I don't know. I mean, Denver did not have their best defensive player in there, and the Titans were barely able to crack 16. Not to say they aren't going to win the game. They very likely are going to win, but way too many points in division from what I saw in week 1. I'm definitely taking the Jags here, and so much that I'm going to tease the Jags up.
Ooh.
Jags. Through a couple of key numbers. We get to go through 10 and 14. We're going to take the Jags up +6.
This is just the second game, right?
Yeah, Jags up to +15. Yeah, there was nothing else on there?
Nope. Those are the only 2 so far, Cincinnati and Jacksonville.
You felt really good about the Jets. You didn't tease them up?
Nope.
You think the Dolphins can win? You're not going to tease them up?
Although the Jets were one of the few teams that actually covered the free money tease last week.
Yes, they did. But Philly lost outright. So
the Jets were not my problem last week, even though they were a problem.
The one game Tim teased through 0, the game that lost for him.
Yeah.
I think Tennessee covers this number, -9. I like Jacksonville. Jacksonville's fine and everything. I think they're going to be frisky in a lot of these games because they can put up points. Their defense is atrocious. And just because they beat the Colts, maybe the Colts aren't very good. And maybe that's like a Super Bowl win for them. Like, they come out, everyone thinks they're going to be absolutely terrible, the worst team in football. They go out and they kind of punch back a little bit. They get 2 very timely turnovers that led to points right away. The rest of the game, they didn't really do much. I think that Tennessee is going to be able to control this on the ground. I think we're going to go back to seeing some of the efficient offense that we saw last year. This is just a really good matchup, Tennessee versus Jacksonville, both styles of play. I think Tennessee beats them up pretty badly here. So I'm taking Tennessee -9.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got to think there's some sort of overreaction for Tennessee not looking great and Jacksonville winning.
It was 10.5.
And I do believe, sort of like your point, I feel like historically we've seen Miami took it to a new level. They started kind of really ugly last year and then got hyper motivated. Jacksonville, I could see it being like, okay, you won this one, and now I'm still kind of believing it could be ugly. Tennessee will just methodically will this one away, and we might need a field goal or 2 to cover the number.
See, I think it might go a different way. Like, we're going to see a bunch of Henry in this game, but I think that we'll see a return to what we saw from like the good version of the Titans offense from the second half last year, where they were hyper efficient, taking shots down the field more often. This just seems like where they were not able to do anything like that on Monday night. I think we're going to see a bit of that this week.
Yeah. I don't disagree with it. I don't hate Tim teasing the game, but I still think the Titans find a way to win by 10 points.
Coin is on Tennessee as well. Carolina at Tampa Bay. Did you know the Tampa Bay Bucks, Tim's Super Bowl pick, are 9.5-point favorites against Carolina? 49 is the over-under. You said you went back and watched this game, Geoff, because it was your super lock of the week. Mine too. Well, Saints -3.5. What was your takeaway?
I wanted to go back and watch because Tom was getting a lot of criticism for how he played, and I didn't get to see a lot of it. And I was what felt like a minority of people that dared like besmirch the signing and say that they were honestly better off with Winston. They wouldn't have been worse off with him last week. He could have thrown those 2 picks. He might have added 3 touchdowns though. I'm not saying I like Tampa here to bounce back. I'll pick on Carolina in this instance, but I don't think Tampa. I mean, certainly not time to worry, but I think there's going to be problems. I don't think it's going to be easy at all. I enjoyed seeing levels of frustration out of them, and I don't know. I just have no interest in people that like thought they were just going to figure it out right away. That was like a laughable assertion to me.
Yeah, just historically, Tom Brady has been very good as a big favorite at home over the years. But again, that was with the Patriots. Now he looked a lot more like a guy in a Bruce Arians system than a Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick system. Throw that out there.
Yeah.
With the amount of just weird. They look so sharp out of the gate. Like their first 15 scripted plays were on point. And maybe Mike Evans being basically a decoy for the entire game really throws off what they want to do, but I don't trust their running game whatsoever. Like if you're going to beat up on Carolina, run the ball against them like they did with Josh, I almost said Oakland, like Vegas did with Josh Jacobs last week, and just kind of ram it down their throats. Like Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette played 11% of the snaps. They were playing LaShawn McCoy. Like they need to figure out the guys that are good on their team and just play them.
Signing guys, names, been to Pro Bowls. Let's bring them on. This will work.
And Carolina was 1 inch away from having 45 seconds to go win that game. They got caught on the 4th and 1. Now, the big thing is that the run defense for the Bucs looks like it is still amazing. For the past 4 games, Christian McCaffrey's averaging 1.8 yards per carry against Tampa Bay. But maybe Matt O'Doyle rules can just figure out, hey, maybe we don't run him 25 times. Maybe we just put him out in the flats, use him out of the backfield, because it turned out that's where Kamara did most of the damage against the Bucs last week. McCaffrey better than him. I think that Carolina can kind of keep up on the scoreboard, be very garbage timey in this game. They got some speed, they got some yak guys. Robbie Anderson looked like he was rejuvenated, Tim. Your guy.
I hope so. I own him in a lot of leagues.
Did you play him last week?
No, of course not. I'm a dum-dum. Deontay Johnson broke my heart.
Are you playing him? Deontay Johnson was fine. Are you playing Robbie Anderson this week?
Yeah, he was the reason I lost, because he made 1,000 catches in the second half yesterday.
Oh, I thought you meant you benched Anderson for Deontay Johnson.
No. I got 2 touchdowns out of Juju, and it didn't help me. I also have Barkley. No one cares about my fantasy team. Anyway, I think all that's well said. I'm going to take Tampa, and I don't love it at all. But I did pick this team to go to the Super Bowl, so I'm not ready to pull the chute quite yet. I kind of knew these are the sorts of games I'd be facing. You make a pick like that, there's going to be on nearly double-digit spreads that you're going to have to lay into a divisional team at home. So I'm just going to, out of principle, bet the -9.5, but not love it. I would never actually bet this or put this in any sort of teaser or parlay.
I thought Carolina looked good on offense. Their defense,
I agree, they did, but their defense was putrid.
But that's fine. If they can score points, then they can cover a game that's 9.5, which I assume is only going to go to 10 and then 11. And then people, bounce back for Tampa Bay. And then all of a sudden, Tampa's up by 21 with 10 minutes left. And then field goal, touchdown, all of a sudden, Carolina's covering.
It's definitely in the cards. I don't disagree with you.
Denver tap at Pittsburgh. Short week for both teams coming off the Monday night. Denver obviously loses. Pittsburgh winners on the road. Look pretty good, too, after the first quarter. -7.5. The Steelers are favored at home. 41.5 is the over-under. The over's hit on 5 of Ben's last 7 home starts, which is kind of crazy. But the last 5, here we go. The last 5 times Ben has started on less than a week of full rest, Pittsburgh's 4-1 outright in that game. Pittsburgh scoring 35 points per game with a 15-1 TD to interception ratio for Ben Roethlisberger. You were shit-talking Big Ben, Cust, on our text.
I still didn't think he played all that great yesterday.
On our text thread, and then all of a sudden, touchdown. I don't know if James Conner is going to play, though.
Yeah, he had nicer numbers than I thought he actually played. There were some moments in the game where he looked pretty shaky. But I just want to address first and foremost the Broncos fans that they need to get off my back. I didn't pick you guys to win the Super Bowl. I didn't pick you guys to win the division. I simply picked them to be the last wild card team, and I thought Locke was a dark horse MVP candidate. I was more heavy on a lot more teams than Denver. So you don't get to chalk this up to some mystical curse or anything. It is what it is. I thought they'd be a good team, but not a great team. So I just wanted to start with that. And I'm going to take Denver this week for the half point. I think that's too many points for Pittsburgh.
I'm sure Denver fans are going to love that.
Well, whatever. I don't think that Pittsburgh's more than a touchdown better than this Broncos team. Denver was unimpressive last night. Both teams were unimpressive last night. I still think they have, I think Sutton will play next week. I think that the offense will be a little crisper next week. I mean, New York hung with Pittsburgh for a whole game, and then Denver's a much better team than New York. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Broncos here to cover. I think 7.5 is sort of silly.
I like Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh may have the best defense in the league. They have one of the best lines in the league. They're very difficult to run against, but their secondary is also quite good, which is kind of like the Tampa problem. Good run defense, bad pass defense. Teams can still pass all over you. Not great because teams love to pass. But like AJ Boye's already dinged up. Philip Lindsay's already dinged up. They've already had all of the other injuries. Like this seems like a real season from hell for Denver, especially if they drop this one, go 0-2 to start. You know, the Chiefs aren't coming back. The Chargers get greasy with. The Chargers already 1-0. Vegas is already 1-0. Like it can get out of hand very quickly here. And what do you think your boy MG3 is going to be doing here, Geoff?
I guess he had a good night after I went to bed.
Yeah, well,
what I saw
he
was
got
very giggles.
He got benched. Lindsay got hurt. Then he came back in.
Yeah, of course. As someone I retweeted, we were just a Melvin Gordon injury away from the holy trinity of Melvin Gordon. The goal line stuff, the fumble, the injury. It was all that I needed to see happen next. I actually really like Denver here plus 7.5. It's a lot of points. We were hoping Pittsburgh would lose this game in some way, and because we sort of felt that they have this in them, but we were kind of wishing maybe it would take a week so we could have Pittsburgh to bet on for a little run. Clearly didn't happen, and the complete opposite happened, where now I think Pittsburgh's maybe a bit overvalued, although it's exciting to see. I love football, and despite the jokes we could make when Ben Roethlisberger looks like a fat bearded guy, whatever. That's what Twitter's fun for. It's great to see him back and playing well.
Yeah, and listen, Tim. I probably gave you too much of a time, although you did curse him into 3 touchdowns instantaneously. But his accuracy was way off, and that's always going to be the big thing coming back from an elbow injury. It's not the velocity on your throws, it's the accuracy. So each week, I think that Ben's probably going to get a little bit better. And they were just 5.5-point favorites against the Giants on the road. They're only 7.5 at home. I don't see what Denver did to where did Denver look good besides Noah Fant?
Yeah, the defense was fine
against Tennessee.
Yeah,
this defense is far more explosive.
I agree, but I mean, Clowney basically had been there for 6 seconds. Give him an extra week. I don't know. I think Tennessee is certainly.
Clowney plays defense.
Yeah, he plays for Tennessee. He wasn't able to take advantage of that offensive line the way I kind of thought he would. But Denver still struggled to score.
Pittsburgh will.
Pittsburgh should. It's a very difficult spot. But at the same time, I still think Locke's a good quarterback. I think their full complement of receivers will be back. I think they'll be able to score enough to not lose by more than a touchdown. That's all.
I don't know if they can score enough. Like I said, I think this Pittsburgh defense is very real.
Oh, yeah.
And especially when you get on that shitty grass at Heinz Field, even better. So I'll take Pittsburgh, minus 7.5. You guys are both taking Denver?
Yep.
Yeah.
The coin is on Pittsburgh as well.
I want to say I just did my own little in-show research project.
Okay.
New quarterbacks last week were 1-4.
New quarterbacks were 1-4.
Yeah.
How about I discussed this with you yesterday. Besides Frank Reich, which quote unquote good coach lost?
Before I get to that, new coaches were 1-4, and the only team with a new coach and a new quarterback, I believe, is Carolina. So they hit both.
And the only new quarterback that won was Cam.
Yes. Good coaches that won: Frank Reich, Mike Zimmer came to my mind instantly as coaches that we do. I think ours.
Yeah,
collectively known as good coaches. Doug Peterson,
okay,
I think.
So maybe that's
we got to deserve that. I'm trying to think what other good coaches lost.
People love Brian Flores.
No one's like Brian Flores, top 5 coach in the NFL. No one said that.
That's fair. That's fair.
But Belichick, Peyton,
Kyle Shanahan lost.
I guess that's where people love Kingsbury.
Those Kyler MVP bets, people are it's one thing to have had them before week 1 and people were excited, but now people are like, oh, baby.
But I went back and listened to, I released some of the Custy Awards up on the Mayo Media Network YouTube page. I went back and I was just listening to one as I was editing it through, and Tim goes on this entire rant about how much Cliff Kingsbury sucks. It is hilarious.
I mean, I think I'm still fundamentally right about a few things, but he's been better than I think.
You said in the show he would be fired before the season ended.
Well, so obviously I was wrong about that, but he does make some very curious in-game decisions that we'll see if he gets figured out.
Here's the game of the early slate: Atlanta at Dallas. This one's just going to be a whole lot of fun. Dallas favored by 5.5 points. 52 is the over/under in this matchup. I don't really have a good lean on this game, but it really feels like an over game, and it feels like Dallas might smash them.
I have a sour taste in my mouth from picking Atlanta last week, so I'm going to pick Dallas.
I picked Atlanta. That's when you felt really stupid about, because Atlanta's just done me dirty so many times. Like a lot of football,
that was the case I made to you. It's like, take Russell Wilson.
Like a lot of football bettors, like Atlanta's a team, like you're so hard to get right. You sometimes just get attracted to like their high fantasy players.
Yeah, you own their fantasy
Although like
players.
Ryan isn't even like a top 8 fantasy. Well,
he was last week because he threw for 9,000 yards in a loss.
Yeah, as soon as Metcalf converted that fourth down, I was like, oh, well, I've lost this game.
But like 10 minutes into that game, you feel so stupid for like not betting on the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson duo.
I did feel dumb
in that game. So I'm with you there, Tim. You apparently lost some value with Atlanta. People out of the gate bet this game down. I heard there were touchdowns available when this sucker opened. I'm with you, Pat. I think Dallas is just gonna lay wood here. The things that they do well up front with Zeke, I think they're going to do really well here.
Their offensive line, not good.
And you want to know, I heard that the league said or that they can have up to 50% of that stadium filled, Jerry Jones announced today.
Of course they do.
And here's the thing, no one knows the exact percentage they're going to go to, but I have a feeling if Jerry's told he can have up to 50%, it'll be a lot closer to 50 than 5%.
Yes.
Well, they will have no trouble finding people in the Metroplex to want to come to a Cowboys game. Like that's not their concern. Yeah, Dallas should win. Dallas should cover.
The total has gone over in 7 of the past 10 games where Dallas has been the favorite. And last year they were way better at home than they were on the road. They scored over 10 more points per game at home than they did on the road. And Atlanta sucks on the road. Like the Cowboys, to me, feel like the slightly superior version of Atlanta. Like they're 15% better, but they do kind of all the same things.
But exactly I believe they have more. The offensive defensive line make them like just a better fundamental team in my opinion.
Like I said, I don't think Dallas's offensive line looked very good on Sunday night.
Fair. But I don't know. You go against Aaron Donald, that takes like 2.5 bodies.
That's fair.
So maybe it's just a different challenge altogether. I know I got a chance to spend time with you yesterday because we recorded US Open content.
Go watch it.
And you mentioned that you felt adamant that the criticism Mike McCarthy had been receiving for that 4th down and 3 was totally unjustified.
I get why people are mad because it's a very results-based thing to look at. You kick the field goal, it's a tie game. Okay, it's still a tie game. At that point, you're going for it. You're moving the ball well. It's 4 yards or 3 yards that you need to get. And like the win expectancy for the Cowboys, like if you really think about it, you tie the game, the Rams immediately get the ball back, or let's say the game remains tied, then you go to overtime and it's like a coin flip. You score a touchdown there, all of a sudden, it is a completely different story. Plus, if you don't get it, you stick the Rams on their 11-yard line, which what do? They had a first down, they had to punt. You got the ball back anyway.
Yeah, it's a good decision to go for it, but the run on 3rd down and then the pass on 4th down, like the play calling was backwards and made no sense.
That's the part that I agree with. People are saying, Mike... Look at Mike McCarthy embracing analytics. Look at him now
trying so hard to prove
but he's not. But he doesn't do it like it's not like that. Yes, I think that's just a smart decision to go for it on that 4th down. It didn't work. No one is saying that this works 100% of the time.
Oh, of course,
it's just that if you do get it, let's say even if it's 50-50, you get it or you don't get it. Getting the 7 points is far more valuable than getting the 3 points. So
I have no problem with going for it.
But like you know what Mike McCarthy still loves to do? But it's all the play calling. You have this offense which should be fucking opened up. You can even spread Zeke out. They should be passing on 1st down and running on 2nd down. Instead, they run on 1st down every fucking time for like 2 yards.
Yeah.
Warren Sharp. Yeah.
Like, I know, like there's hard. Like, what are you doing?
There's hard math on how dumb that seems to be now. Even if you have an elite running back, you don't have to run on 1st down.
There's no point in getting upset. There are certain coaches who just can't learn. And so why you expect a dog to walk on their hind legs, I have no idea. Like there's no point in getting upset about it and venting on Twitter. Like they're just not going to do it because they're never going to do it. And that's just how it is.
Well, the biggest thing is like shout out to like Levy and Dink and Leone and Silva for Establish the Run, and that's always been like that's the name of their site, EstablishTheRun.com. But you should all go to FTNDaily.com by the way, and use promo code Mayo to get yourself a discount. But at the same time, like that has just been around for so long. It's like it's no different than in golf when people hear, "Oh, you drive for show and putt for dough." Well, as it turns out, that's not actually what happens in golf. If you're one of the premier drivers of the golf ball, you're going to win a lot of fucking money. If you're someone who's just great at putting, you're probably on the Corn Ferry Tour. In football, like, you no longer have to establish the run. You don't establish the run to set up the pass. You can run play action at any time during the game, at any score, whether you've ever run the ball or not, and it works.
Yeah.
People bite on it. It's just a natural reaction. What you should be doing is passing to set up the run. Then all of a sudden, you throw teams off of what you're doing and open up these huge running lanes.
Huge lanes.
That's when you should be running. That's why.
Or be a team like Carroll or Baltimore or New England, and just even your runs are just so efficient that it makes a ton of sense to be running as often.
That's
all team specific, and there are very few horses in the barn that can run that way. Was it Baltimore, New England being those two? Dallas is not that. Dallas is not a team constructed in such a way. But Mike McCarthy's a dum-dum. He was bad in Green Bay. He won a Super Bowl despite himself. He's going to be bad in Dallas, but he'll have the job for 10 years because Jerry is one of the loyalist men on earth and won't fire people. And people will be upset for every Sunday for 12 years about how Mike McCarthy doesn't know what he's doing when he doesn't know any better and he's never going to learn. So just accept it.
Twitter's different when the Cowboys are on prime time.
Well, I mean, so that's like half the time.
Yeah, really. That's like, yeah, exactly.
Giants at Bears. A lot of 1 o'clock games this week.
Yeah, I bet this one already. It's the other game I bet.
Oh,
all right.
This game, just a disaster.
Well, the Bears are minus 5.5. 42.5 is the over-under. You've already bet the game. Well, let's hear about it.
I caught a 6 earlier today. I don't understand it. The Bears needing to win by a touchdown. Thank you for the great comeback last week. Thank you for the money line win. It was one of the small bright spots in a bad week one for me. The Giants got embarrassed on Monday Night Football. The Bears got to beat them by a touchdown. It's just like a blind, the Giants.
I'm with you. I just blindly bet the Giants. This so reeks of like the only way. I don't want to say the only way this doesn't.
This could be like 4 by kickoff, like 3.5. Like this could be a pick 'em, and I don't know that I'd argue it.
This just feels like a 3-point game. That whoever turns the ball over not last wins.
They can't do what Pittsburgh did, as great as some pieces are on the Bears defense.
I wasn't really impressed with the Bears defense against Detroit at all.
Yeah, but Detroit's got a pretty high-powered offense when they get moving, and their quarterback's really good.
They have a really, you know what? I will give you that their offense is pretty good when they have by far their best offensive weapon on the field, which they didn't have.
No, but I mean, they still have Stafford. He's still amazing.
Yeah, but Stafford, when you can throw to Golladay, who's a top 10.
Sure.
This isn't like Tim's. Robbie Anderson is a top 10 receiver in football. Kenny Golladay is a top 10 receiver in football.
I like all. I'm going to be with you guys with the Giants, but with zero conviction. This game could end up 14-3 for Chicago, and I could feel like a dummy. But
no,
anyway.
if Chicago scores 14 points, I'll feel like I bet the right side.
Just feels like a lot of David Montgomery in this game. I would imagine Saquon gets going a little bit in this game.
I hope so. What a disappointment.
Have you
cursed Saquon?
You draft him or
no,
something?
But you know what? Again, another thing I'm tired of is people tweeting at me, "Oh, Saquon can only get 6 yards and 15. You think you can get 10 and 3?" Like, yeah, I could. That was the worst game he ever played. Get off my back.
No, I think those people are 100% right as a great point to prove how insane you are.
I don't think so.
How many carries do you have at any level of football?
I don't think I have any carries because I played.
So Saquon Barkley went
7 carries, 6 yards. Tim, I mean, 7 carries. What are you averaging? 3.5 a clip? That's what you're talking
15
about?
carries.
So you're
15
saying
carries for 6 yards.
Given the same opportunity as Saquon Barkley on Monday Night Football, that you would have got more yards than him. Is that what we're saying?
That's your contention.
I'm amazed that, you made your insane take.
I'm amazed that he's never carried a ball in a football game, and he has this sort of brain damage already.
I played center and defensive end in tackle football. I didn't play running back or
Again,
fullback.
as people have pointed out to you, the fact that you have to say tackle football kind of disproves your entire theory that any of this means anything. People just say football, Tim.
As insane as your take was to begin with, I don't know whether it was just like being bored or whatever. I would have thought watching like the game last night, specifically the game, and seeing how suffocating those front lines are in this league at times would make you realize, oh my God, like I wouldn't gain a yard.
Saquon got first touched by the defense, 2.5 yards behind the line of scrimmage on average.
And Tim thinks
I think that's an unusual circumstance.
Okay. Well, that brings us to the midpoint of the show. Well, beyond the midpoint of the show, which means, Tim, it's time for everyone's favorite segment, a Cust Corner Mini.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner,
Yeah, so I prepared this week.
Good.
The topic I wanted to discuss, maybe it's a bit somber, but I don't know. I sort of want to work it out. It's an idea that I sort of had over the weekend, and I've been working through it the last couple of days. And it's basically a question, which is travel done? Now, I don't mean that in the flattest of senses, because travel will never be done.
Do you mean
People
you don't
will
mean
always
that
go
in
on-
the fact that the Earth is flat, so travel doesn't even really exist?
No, people will always go on honeymoons. There will always be some matter of business travel. But I'm wondering if this pandemic and the effects, both psychological and medical, are going to result in travel patterns that look a lot like the 1940s and 50s compared to the 2000s and 2010s.
what were those travel patterns? In the
Fewer
40s and
people
50s?
traveled, and they traveled less often. You didn't just go away for the weekend somewhere. That was very, very unusual. That has become far more. Because ticket prices were more expensive, people didn't have as much vacation. There wasn't as much inclination to travel. It was harder to travel, and I'm wondering if just the concerns over, what the shape of airlines is going to be at by the time the pandemic is over, what shape hotels will be at when it's over, the inclination people are going to have to sit next to other people for long periods, for short periods of time, whether they're going to be comfortable going to places where a bunch of people are. I don't know. I mean, it's not that travel will ever go away, because it can't go away, but the people who sort of travel for fun, that their leisure activity is travel, I wonder if that is just a thing that's kind of over now.
Well, you can wonder all you want. The moment that travel is acceptable again, just make sure you have some stock in airlines. Put it that way.
I wonder.
You shouldn't be wondering.
There's nothing to wonder about.
Every single
Because
person
people in the 1930s.
Yeah. You know what, Tim? This isn't the fucking 1930s. Although you might live there. Every single person I talk to, all they want to do is go somewhere, and they're just waiting and biding their time. So.
They say that, but the revealed preferences will come out, right?
I'm
not so sure.
Just because you don't like leaving your house doesn't mean other people don't.
No, and
Do you want to know something? I purchased an airline ticket for a flight, and this was about a month ago, where I thought things would probably be clear better in March for a bachelor party to Vegas. An incredible price. And people are like, what do you do? How do you do that? If I don't go and we got to cancel and the world's not right again, I don't care. I have $600 to my name from an airline that I know I can't wait to travel on. I don't mind if they owe me $600. My wife has we will go away for sure. There's no doubt about it. I promise you, at least the people I know, my parents, I don't know what they're going to do if they're stuck here this winter. My parents will lose.
They're going to be stuck here this winter.
They're going to lose their mind.
Well, and at the same time, I mean, you might see a downtick in travel just because the pandemic has hurt so many people financially that they can't afford to go do things. But anyone who does have the means to go do things, the first thing they want to do is just go somewhere. Think about the amount of people between us. Think about the amount of people between us, Geoff, and even you, Tim, that have gone on mini vacations during this pandemic. The amount of people leaving town to go do something has been at an all-time high. It's probably 10 times the amount that, how many times have you gone away now, Tim? You've gone away, 3 times?
Look at cottage rentals.
And you never go anywhere.
We're insane. People,
I went away out of province one time.
Yeah, but you also went up to play golf for a weekend in province, but 5 hours away.
Yeah, so that's all true. I'm just saying I'm worried about the infrastructure as well. A lot of hotels just aren't going to be around, I don't think, when this comes about. A lot of the restaurants that people want to go to will not be there.
There will be new hotels. There will be new restaurants.
There will be new rich people or people that are willing to have either the means to do
so
it
that's why I'm asking
or that will invest in new things.
I think you underestimate the amount of scar tissue people are going to have.
No, I think you underestimate
other people.
I think you underestimate the amount that people are just going to be willing to get back to normal. And I'll say this for me personally.
Football felt like normal for the first time in a very long time.
For me personally, I'm so crazy. I actually have no doubts in my mind the next time I get on an airplane, the next time I stay in a hotel, it will be exponentially cleaner than the last time I was on it.
Yeah.
The next time I go to a restaurant, I'm so certain it will be so much cleaner than it was always. And that will be a standard. The one thing I'm honestly annoyed about is like staying in a hotel for 5 days and apparently they say they're not going to like do rooms anymore. Now I may as well be in an Airbnb. If like I can't even get like the room
my fresh
over.
Towels and the
I'm not like Tim, but that's a nice thing. You come back, you like that's a.
I agree.
You realize 100%. When you go to an Airbnb, it's like, well, here's the communal towel. They have towels there, and you get more of them too.
No,
Tim's just.
If I'm not going to have my room like turned over and
service.
fresh like house cleaning, I may as well just be in a bigger space like an Airbnb.
Yeah. That's it. I want my fresh towels. I want my fresh towels. I want my bed made. I want my bed turned down for me.
I'm so sorry. This is just so hard for you to do.
But I think that will be an option. Like the standard will be like, we will not clean your room, but if you really want it, we will.
Yeah, if you pay us an extra $100 a night, you can do it.
Or you just put the sign on the door.
Yeah, I want this room clean. I don't know, but I believe all these things will be cleaner, and that will sort of be a standard. I believe for the most part, everything will be cleaner. Like the procedures and practices that I'm seeing like big companies taking. And by that, I mean like a McDonald's, like just per se, and like how strict they are. Cause they have a whole
also
corporate
have to be right
now. They have like a whole,
especially giant corporations have to hold themselves, and everyone always talks about like, oh, they're putting this in their meat or whatever on like a superficial level, like the aesthetic level that the customer consumes, that you see when you go into a place. They need to be pristine.
Yeah, and I believe I'm seeing that like at all these sorts of places that I'm going. Again, I believe the world will be an exponentially cleaner place from a
but there's masks all around now. People are complaining about all the masks people throw on the ground.
The new coffee cups.
Yeah, but either way, people are antsy to travel, and they do want to wait. Like, I do think that there is going to be some people that are pensive and don't want to go out. But like, just having gone out on Sunday, I was at the gym on Sunday after going here. Paul and I went out to watch football at the normal place that we go watch football. People are out. People are waiting. People are not necessarily here treating it like it's like over. They're still being cautious, but it's a lot more relaxed. And just look at the states.
Travel will return. Like, I have no concerns about travel. I think of more things like festivals and concerts. Like, those specific entities are in more trouble than like me, my wife, and my kids going away somewhere to enjoy nice weather or an activity or two.
Yeah, like
you're saying the CNE is seen a death now?
Well, I think
they almost went bankrupt.
Yes, but I believe something else, like with hotels, another
will pop up.
Would pop up in its place. Like, I just believe that, and I feel if these companies are gonna go under, that sucks. But capitalism will show that other hotel chains will form. Like, that's just how it's gonna be, or someone else will buy that property. Like,
even
and say
if 10 or 15% of people just don't want to travel much anymore, that's a sizable.
Yeah, but
thing.
I think you're gonna see more people travel.
I don't know.
People want to get away.
But when there's a vaccine, then won't everything just go back to normal?
Maybe. We don't know. That's a big question mark. Maybe not.
Other than growing an extra toe or something?
No, but we don't know what the other side looks like. And like I said, even if it's just 10% of people who don't want to participate in that part of the economy anymore because they're gun shy and nervous or just don't trust getting on an airplane anymore.
Not everyone's a coward like you.
Not
even 15% of
social
people.
Events.
Not even 15% of people are cowardly.
If you look through history at major cataclysmic events, there are after effects and scar tissue psychologically in people that never go away for a whole generation. That was true of the Depression. It was true of Victorian England. There's all kinds of incidences with tuberculosis. There's a lot of, and I'm just saying, don't be so sure that it will snap back like an elastic. I'm saying that it could be distorted to the point where some of these places, which don't have very high,
You've gone to the
margins
movies.
I have gone to the movies, but that's because Tenet was out, and I could not see Tenet.
So
Like,
there's
Christopher
people
Nolan's
that
the finest
literally
filmmaker of our
can't not
time.
go to Florida. Like,
Well, to be fair, being in a theater with like 7 other people, socially distanced, where you're not exerting much energy and not breathing hard, and you're wearing a mask for most of the time, is a much lower risk activity than many things, like being.
no,
cheating
I agree,
towels
but
on
I'm saying
airplanes
you,
for 5
you
hours.
you made a point. Tenet was playing. I had to go. Well, guess what? I know a lot of people that will just have to go to Florida.
Right.
Like, that's it.
But those people
They'll
are always
have
going to
to
travel.
go.
I'm talking about the people who get away for the weekend, who aren't regular travelers or wouldn't be.
Listen, there is no one who isn't a regular traveler that like goes that they're like, oh, I'm just going away for the weekend. Like,
I mean, I'm not wired like that.
Who
I don't
is that
like
person?
travel.
No,
I mean,
tell me who the person is that regularly goes away for a weekend but is not an avid traveler.
Not regularly, but there are many. You see all the time people say, "Oh, we just
Give me an
go away this
example.
weekend."
Give me an example of someone you know from your real life.
You know that this is true. That
No,
people
I
just
don't, because
decide-
I'm someone who does do exactly what you're saying. I mean, pre-kids, my wife and I would go away for the weekend.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Young married couples before they have kids.
Yeah.
that's right.
And we would.
I'm not. Now, see, I'm not a
But-
traveler.
But I would be an
My
avid
mind
traveler.
doesn't
Like
work that way.
every month, we'd go to Montreal for the weekend, or we would go to Chicago for the weekend, or we'd boot down to Boston for the weekend and just take the round trip back, just go there because the flights are cheap. I would say that's a pretty avid traveler, beyond the fact that I'm traveling for work all the time anyway.
Yeah, so I just don't know whether that'll be inculcated in people who are 22 and 23. Whether that'll happen.
I don't know.
don't
I
know.
assume the 22, 23-year-olds are still like that. I know are still going to be excited to like go to Niagara Falls for a weekend of casino and Sundowner.
Yeah,
They're the 23-year-olds. They're going to go out.
It all strikes back to if travel is down, that means more people were affected monetarily by the pandemic, which they have been. But
that's a huge part of it.
That's going to be the biggest part. If people can actually afford to do this stuff, if people can afford to do it, travel is going to be at an all-time high. Anyway, that was Cust Corner. The Washington Footballs are at the Arizona Cardinals. -6.5 for the Cardinals. 46.5 for the over-under in this game. I'm actually surprised the spread is this big, but I guess Arizona beat San Francisco. I thought more people would have been hyped for the Footballs because they played really well, but I think Arizona covers this game pretty handily. What was the stat that I brought up to you before? Oh, yeah. The Footballs blitzed more in week 1 than San Francisco did all last year. And Kyler Murray in that game did not gain a single yard rushing on a designed run. He gained 96 yards off scrambling. If he's going to get sacked a few times, he's going to get dropped a few times, but he's just going to run around like a crazy person to run around this defense. Also, the Footballs, last year at least, gave up the second highest percentage of touchdowns on perimeter throws. Last week, 11 of DeAndre Hopkins' targets were on the perimeter. Like, it's just a really bad matchup for them. And I just don't think, they got down and they came back against Philadelphia. I don't know if this team is just really well equipped that if they do get down by a bunch, what's going to happen? Like, they were unable to run the ball at all last week. Peyton Barber averaged a career high 1.7 yards per carry. They punched it in twice. A lot went right because of that defense and the offensive line, the great front seven versus a banged up offensive line. They were able to get some timely turnovers. They had so many sacks. If Wentz was mobile whatsoever, he would have caused a lot of problems for Washington. And Kyler Murray is going to cause those problems. So I like Arizona -6.5. It's actually one of my favorite games of the week.
I'll just be quick. I noticed that I'm going to, without question, play Tampa Bay, Tennessee, and Arizona. And
Tampa Bay's a loser. They might lose that game outright.
What I mean by that is all these teams that I projected and most projected to be the worst teams in the league, I'm still going to pick on. I think I'm going to go 2-1 in those 3 games. I'm taking Arizona here for a lot of the same reasons I'm taking Tennessee.
Dwayne Haskins has covered 4 of his past 6 games. And this team is football competent. As Tim pointed out earlier, with Ron Rivera as their coach, they are a competent
and that
football
D-line,
team.
you can hang around and be competent.
Yeah, with that front seven, they can be within a touchdown in every single one of these games. I just think that Arizona's good. We picked Arizona at the beginning of the year. We like Arizona. I think Kyler Murray can win MVP. I think he's great. That Dwayne Haskins is good. He's not great. Kyler's great. So, Arizona for me. So, round of Arizona, even the coin. I think we were all winless on games we picked the same last week, by the way.
We're all on
Great.
Detroit too, I think, right?
Not the coin. The coin likes the Packers. But yes, as a collection, we are all on Detroit. We are all on Dallas, the Giants, and Arizona. So just fade those games.
Those
the other
games,
way,
you'll
be
have a good week. Yeah.
Kansas City at your Los Angeles Chargers.
Did Tim talk about that game?
Yeah, he said Arizona. The Chargers are 8.5 points at home. 47 is the over-under. Surprisingly, Vegas and the lines do not give Patrick Mahomes a lot of credit on the spread. They don't.
Why? How's this 8.5?
I don't know. Mahomes and the Chiefs have covered 7 straight games. The under is
It's a lot easier when you tease it down.
Is 4-2 and no, but they've covered 7 straight games.
I know they have, but I'm going to tease.
See, why do you need to tease it? You just bet the Chiefs.
Well, because you could do that too, but I'm going to put them in the teaser.
Chiefs win this game by a lot because the Chargers aren't good.
I don't understand the spread. This is actually one of those games where like the only confidence I have is because the spread feels shorter than it should be. Like, you know how that
Yeah, like the Philly game.
Yeah, like I'm a gambler and I'm like, no, that spread should be 10. It should be 11. The public would still bet against the Chargers at 10 or 11 with the Chiefs having extra rest. So why is the spread this? I have no idea, but it gives me a little more confidence because it seems like maybe Vegas is trying to bait it, but I don't see a scenario. I don't know how. I don't know. The Chargers can't backdoor it.
They played well against the Chiefs.
Yeah, but they played well in the scenario where
they had a chance. Like
they would get the ball to the red zone, and then we'd settle for field goals, or Phillip would throw interceptions. I don't know that we're going to get I don't know where the opportunity to get within 8 points comes from here.
Just have Paul give you the Tyrod Taylor spiel. Paul, let's hear it.
If you go down 14 points, you're fucked. He can't throw. He can't get you back into a game. He's a game manager.
So we got to have 8-minute drives.
He can fight back because he can maybe get 3 field goals. But, down 14 with Tyrod, game over, curtains.
Yeah, I don't think that's really a secret. That will be a problem all year. They have to have 8-minute bleeding clock drives. I don't know.
How about instead of betting this game, just bet that Mike Williams will score a touchdown because he loves beating up on Kansas City.
If there's a game the Chargers want to get absolutely walloped, get down 20-0, let me watch golf.
And Herbert. Maybe Herbert comes in the second half. Cleanup duty. So. Get him some
give me the Chargers, who I do believe I think actually played better last week than the final score indicates. They got 2 first and goals and settled for field goals on both of them.
Classic Chargers.
And Phillip brought that juju to Indy, sandling for important second half field goals that you needed to just keep adding more points. This is my concern that I already addressed to you off air. It was great to see Anthony Lynn go for 2 4th and shorts. The problem was the Chargers didn't get them, and now I'm paranoid that he'll be deterred from doing it again. But I think you just absolutely got to do it. And it was the most generic.
Especially against the Chiefs.
It was the most, absolutely against the Chiefs, because 3 points means...
the Chiefs are going for it from their own 30.
3 points is dog dick against the Chiefs. Doesn't get you anything. And punting to them, they'll just make back the yards you punted the field position in 2 plays. It's the freaking Chiefs. I don't even remember what I was saying, but I'm worried that Lynn will be deterred. But don't use these generic play calls. Just like Tyrod.
They didn't even run with Tyrod.
They couldn't get the ball to Eckler in the air, which fantasy guy wouldn't shut up about.
I was pissed off about it.
But I watched some sort of deeper film on the game and play breakdowns. It's actually just the Charger game. It's actually quite amazing. The Bengals, they made it, and I guess it makes total sense. Tyrod Taylor, I'm just going to take that guy away and make Tyrod throw the ball 9 yards in the air and see what happens, because there's so many more variables there. It seemed like every time Eckler broke out of the backfield, he had 1.5 guys on him. That seemed to be the Bengals' defensive priority. And you could argue that makes ton of sense.
So does that mean Honey Badger just shadows him this week?
Maybe. I don't know. And Tyrod, unlike Phillip, won't get the ball there under any circumstance. He already made Hines the new Eckler in 12 minutes.
Yeah.
It almost shows.
Taylor's going to be the good Melvin Gordon?
I don't know, but it just means Sproles, Woodhead, Eckler, Hines. That's all very crucial to Phillip. We're going to go baby blue with the sunshine gold pants. It might be the best thing that happens to us on Sunday. And we are going to be in a new building. How do I put this? Like, imagine the dorkiest, ugliest guy in your school showing up with like a supermodel. Like, what? That is us in SoFi. We do not belong in something like that. It is not of us. We are low end, bottom tier. We should be in some no frills stadium 2 hours south of SoFi that 6 parties contributed on, from the Spanos family to the league to the city to San Diego State. We do not belong in this building. It doesn't, I feel so uncomfortable. It's like me trying to fit into a medium. Like, I don't know how to get these pants on. We don't belong there. We don't belong in a building that is like some omnipresent palace of football. That's not us. So it's so weird.
You know, the Chiefs average 7% more yards per play on the road than they do at home with Mahomes. Better on the road. Fun fact. At least offensively. Tim, where are you going with this? I can see the Chargers covering the 8.5, but
yeah,
I'm just going to take KC.
Like, what is that scenario?
Just Bosa gets in the backfield. Just like it's a bad game offensively for the Chiefs, and these 8-minute drives happen, and they actually score touchdowns.
Yeah, all that's possible. But yeah, give me Kansas City.
And you're teasing them down to what? 2.5?
Chiefs get teased down to 2.5.
I get a little Nance and Romo. Hopefully Michaels and Collinsworth didn't make a mess of the booth.
That is Nance and Romo are doing this game?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, if you're Patrick Mahomes, I would have much preferred to see Nance and Romo, Lamar at Deshaun Jackson, or at Deshaun Watson, which is next. That's also a late game. Baltimore at Houston. Houston's a 7-point dog at home. 52. Now you're done with the Chargers. We don't have time.
I just wanted to say one thing.
No, wait, no, we're done. You should. If it was so important, you could have brought it up in an 8-minute rant.
I didn't talk 8 minutes.
I don't know about that. It was at least 6.
Okay, well, then I'll have nothing to say about something else because I need to say something.
Now, Tim, we're moving on to the next game.
Yeah, let's go.
Watson in Houston, 7-point dogs at home. 52.5 is the over-under. This was 6.5. It moved up to 7 within the hour of us writing everything down. Did you know that Lamar Jackson is 9-1-1 against the spread as a starter on the road?
Crazy.
And I wasn't really impressed with Houston, but they've had a lot of time off now to get healthy. I don't know what to do with this one.
I was dumb enough to take the Browns, so I'm going to take the Texans. I'll take 7 points. Again, I don't know. I took Houston last week getting 10 versus super elite team. I'm going to take them getting a touchdown versus the AFC's other elite.
Me too. I'm going to step in front of Baltimore for the second week in a row like a fool. But, Houston's had the extra time, and I still think, that Watson's an excellent quarterback. That offense still has pieces that can, that can go shot for shot with Baltimore in a way that, like the Browns just doesn't have the talent anywhere on the offense. I think the Texans do. So, yeah, I think the Texans keep it close. The Texans could even win. It's not like the Ravens are like, unbeatable or anything. So, yeah, too many points. Give me the Texans. I don't think so. Give me the points. No, everyone's beatable. Give me the points.
I went big on Baltimore last week. I'm going big on Baltimore again. They're just way better. There's 2 teams that are really good in the AFC. They are one of them.
There are 3. The next one, too.
Oh, so now you're all in on the Patriots? Listen to gives up on the Jets to curse the Patriots. This is very disingenuous, Paul. You know this.
I know.
Sunday Night Football. Patriots at Seahawks. Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites at home. 45 is the over-under. I really like Seattle in this game. And, I forgot.
I need a Seattle loss here.
Yeah, that's right. He needs the Seattle loss. I couldn't. It really stunned me. Of all the weird things that happened, maybe it was like doing a podcast over the offseason, talking with like different smart people and coaches around the league. Pete Carroll and Steve Kerr had that podcast. Maybe he learned something. But I told you yesterday, when we were talking yesterday, the single best thing that I've seen from Pete Carroll in a really long time is my favorite thing that any team can do on 4th and 3, 4th and 4, 4th and 5. Oh, it's 4th and 5? Yeah, we're not running a 5.5-yard play. We're going for a fucking touchdown. And we're going to go get it. And now that's on tape. Now teams have to respect that, making getting 4th downs even easier for them. But the big fact is they're going for 4th downs now because they have one of the best fucking quarterbacks in the league. This is what you should be doing. Like, I was big on Seattle coming into the year. I liked them even more after what I saw week 1 after going on the road. They're back at home. And man, Tim, you should have told me about this Jamal Adams guy. He is everywhere.
Star.
Yeah, he played well, but like I've got one QB on one side that's a former MVP and another.
Oh, so Cam's good now? Oh, this is a big turn for you.
He played really well last week. I was impressed to see how McDaniels fit that offense together. I mean, they fumbled one ball on the 1 yard line through the end zone. They could have won by a lot more than 10 points. I thought that the Patriots looked very impressive. They are basically a mini version of what Baltimore's trying to do. I think that's what the Patriots are trying to put together here. And it worked for Baltimore. They're like a triple option team in football. You don't see them very often, so they're hard to stop. And I don't think Seattle is fitted to stop this type of team. Atlanta, of course, you just outscore them and just go bombs away, and Atlanta's got problems, so you can do that. Seattle can't do that against the Patriots. 4.5 is sort of silly. They have no home field advantage because the crowd's not there. I think Newton played really well. I was impressed at how well he played. Yeah, I mean, I think the Patriots are going to win the game outright, and I like the Patriots on the teaser, so let's take them up to 10.5. I really like New England here. They are clearly a cut above Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets in the division. I was wrong.
How much of this do you believe?
No, listen.
I'm not asking you. I'm asking Geoff.
This is me being accountable.
None of it.
0%.
None of it.
Right?
None of
just
it.
a liar.
No.
Yeah. I hope he means it, and that he's finally using the curse.
His
for
like
good.
Cam Newton
Get rid of the
takes.
Patriots. I like it.
I don't like Cam Newton, but I was impressed at how they played, and I can't lie and say that I wasn't impressed. He played really well, and I thought, like I said, a mini Baltimore they're trying to construct over there, and why won't that work?
I don't know with all the opt-outs that they had on defense. I don't know if their defensive line can hold up, and I do worry about their offensive line too. But I think they're incredibly well coached. I think Seattle's really good.
Yeah,
if you have a lot of holdouts, keep your defense off the field by churning the clock and running the ball. Textbook strategy.
Okay, Tim. Geoff.
It is.
I think New England will struggle against teams like Seattle this year. Well, they'll succeed against teams like Miami, probably. These are situations, I believe, where they will struggle. Give me Seattle. I think this game will be. I think Seattle's going to win by more than a touchdown, actually.
I think so.
Hopefully, have a pretty good day.
Well, no, if it comes down to if Tim's free money teaser is looking good going into Sunday night, just go bet the alternate spread, Seattle -10.
Like it could be a double win back where I'm literally going to try to win back all the money I lost on golf and Sunday football in one Sunday night football Seattle bet.
Yeah, and I don't want to discredit New England. It's just I'm very high on Seattle here, and it's not just because it's in Seattle. I don't care where this game would be. I would take Seattle.
I can't believe I'm the only person out here saying nice things about the Patriots.
Well,
here we are.
Yeah, but exactly. You're saying nice things about the Patriots. We'll go the other way, and you're being a liar.
Saying nice things about the Patriots and Cam. Let's the flip,
I don't know. Well, I
flip
just
on
keep
Cam
saying I
here
don't
has
like
been crazy.
Cam, but I can't have this Buffalo team winning the division. I can't have that. They don't deserve it. I don't want it to happen.
Is it like because you're just like so used to Buffalo you're so used to Patriots Twitter, but you don't want to accept
if I can't have nice
Twitter?
things, if I still can't have nice things, they can't have nice things.
You know that the Jets could have drafted Josh Allen, right?
Whatever.
Could have drafted Lamar Jackson, I guess, too.
Yeah, or Patrick Mahomes. We could have done that too.
This is right up. This is the content that really fuels me.
I hate the Patriots. This is not a team that's going to win the Super Bowl, but this is a team that's going to win the division. And I think Seattle's a bit fraudulent. You know, you talked about last week, people would be like, oh, wow, San Francisco won that game against Minnesota. And we remembered it for 9 weeks. That could be Seattle against Atlanta.
What?
Remember a few years ago, Minnesota got no respect because San Francisco beat them early in a game. And people also gave San Francisco way too much respect.
That was the 4 years ago?
We did this show. You're doing
but it was a week 1 game. Anyway, my point being...
You're just randomly alluding to a show from 4 years ago?
I don't have much respect for the Seattle team, and I think they're going to lose. This is a tough game.
Is Seattle, because they have the Jets pick, the most reverse curse team of 2020?
Probably.
Monday night. Here's not a fun one. Saints at Raiders in Las Vegas. First time ever. 6.5. The Raiders are dogs now. 51.5 is the over-under.
What would the spread have been with fans and this being the first night in Vegas and what would have been a hornet's nest?
5.5.
Is
Five.
it? It was 5.5
Are we
till an hour
overrating all of
ago.
that? Like when next year starts again, are we gonna like be adding the spreads or we're just gonna take like sort of realize it wasn't important? I don't know.
I think next year we have to look at it, and it's not because of fans. Like I think it's going to end up being like the Golden Knights, where you have like the lower bowl that's like kind of like corporate fans, but a lot of it's just like, hey, you're at the casino. Here's a free buffet and tickets to the Las Vegas Golden Knights. It's going to be the same thing with the Raiders.
Yeah, it's not cheap there either.
No, it's not like it's gonna. It's not going to be like it was in Oakland. Like they'll have a home field advantage for the first few years solely because teams are going to Vegas. And they're going to get themselves in trouble in Vegas. But it's hard to go out in Vegas right now.
You can't really go to
and
Vegas.
You got Drew Brees. That guy's not going anywhere.
And these guys play New Orleans. And New Orleans is just as much a party city as Las Vegas is. Not like they're going from Buffalo to Las Vegas. It's New Orleans. Yeah, I think the Saints should win and beat them pretty soundly. So
I would
down, though the last part of the teaser. And I think the Saints take care of business indoors in a dome on a fast track. I was impressed with the Raiders' ability to put up points last week, but their defense played terribly. One can assume that is going to be a problem that continues to linger. There's not big stars on that defensive side of the football. And yes, Michael Thomas is dinged up. Does he go? Does he not go? We won't know until kickoff.
I don't think that matters.
Well, I think it does matter. He's the best receiver on either side, if not the best receiver in the game.
I don't think that it matters to them covering or winning this game.
I do think they should carve up the Raiders and they should win the game. And so when I can get it down, basically a pick 'em, that's the way to play it.
The Saints have won 6 straight games outright while being a road favorite. They've won 13 of their past 15 games as a road favorite. And during that 6-game winning streak, they've won by an average of 14 points on the road, with just one of those wins being 8 points or less. I think they blow out the Raiders. The Raiders aren't good.
Yeah, they give
the Saints
30 to Carolina.
Saints are good. Raiders aren't good. I don't care that it's in Vegas with no fans.
Vegas.
You're taking Vegas?
Sorry, Saints. yeah, Saints.
Well, it's down to the coin. So that means Vegas is definitely outright winning this game then. I don't know if I'm going to end up betting this one, although I have a lot of confidence that the coin is going New Orleans too. I have a lot of confidence in this game, but I feel like I'm not going to be alone. We've all just picked New Orleans. I want to hear the case from the Vegas bettor, besides the fact that everyone is taking the Saints. Because that's really, I don't know what the case is. What is the case?
Track meet. It turns into a track meet.
And what?
It ends up 38-34 and the Raiders cover.
I don't know about that.
But like last week's game.
I don't know if I'm that sold on the old Raiders offense.
I'm not either, but I'm just saying that's how you do it.
All right. Brings us to the recap part of the show. Superlocks. Geoff, you and I 1-0 on Superlocks to start the year with those New Orleans Saints. Tim 0-1, like I had mentioned. So Tim, the floor is yours. You get first crack at this.
New England.
Really? I was going to do Seattle. New England plus 4.5. Geoff, you felt like Indianapolis was your hottest take.
Let's go there.
Indy -3 at home. I have it narrowed down to, I like Minnesota on the road. I like Buffalo on the road, -6. That Giants game is super interesting, but I'm going to lock in Arizona -6.5. Just think fool's gold, week 1 with the footballs. I can see him keeping it close. I just think Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins are just going to be too much. They just possess such powers, which Washington's defense doesn't do well, that all of a sudden, if you get in a hole, it's just going to be too big to come back from. Survivor, Tim, who are you going with?
Kansas City.
Kansas City on the road you're taking.
Yeah, I don't usually like to do that, but there are no big home favorites that I love this week. The only other one I think about was Arizona, but I'm not playing Arizona week 2. That's foolishness. So yeah, and I thought about the Saints. I thought about the Packers, but in the end, I'm going with Kansas City.
I'm taking the Titans at home against Jacksonville to keep myself alive in Survivor. So to recap your 6-point teaser for us, please.
Sure. You connect the Bengals, the Jaguars, the Chiefs, the Patriots, and the Saints. Bet the farm, win 4 farms.
That's 4-1. 1, 2,
Sure
3,
is.
4, 5. A 5-game 6-point teaser pays 4-1.
Indeed.
Is Tim lying about this too?
I am not. I'm looking at the slip right now.
Isn't that 3-1?
Nope,
I
I'm
don't
looking at it
play
right now.
these
Plus
I don't
400.
play. I don't play teasers either. All right,
Looking-
so 4-1, trying to dig yourself out of that hole of your 6-68 lifetime record.
I always feel you're just better off
Betting the games.
betting the games.
Yeah.
Finding a game and instead of needing 4 of them or 5 of them to win one bet.
But
just
you
betting
could even
one
add
game
DJ to
win
win
one
on
bet.
there and get real spicy.
You didn't even pick him to win. You picked Rom.
Yeah, but I also have DJ in one and done, so you can bet it twice. Run it twice. One with DJ, one with Rom.
Why would
Run it
you?
twice.
Why would you put Why would you put a 5-game NFL teaser parlayed with people that are already plus 800 and plus 1100?
No. Fair enough. But should either of them be the 54-hole leader? Just saying.
Well, I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying because maybe being
Juice it
the
up a little bit.
54-hole leader at Wingfoot might not be a great position.
We'll see.
I mean,
You're right. We will see what happens, Tim. It's going to happen. We'll see.
Don't worry. Tim is going to just follow Tim's feed because at some point this week, a guy that is currently 150 to 1 pre-tournament, he's going to bet at plus 250.
I'm just saying Streelman has some good numbers here.
Oh no, I want to put.
Tim
I
Pat
bet
likes him.
Streelman at 275 to 1.
Well, like he's really good with his wedges, and that's something I think matters here.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
I mean, there's a lot of good wedge players out there. I would think that. Well, not.
But I have
meaning-
a particular love for him this season.
My patience has been worn. Geoff, thank you for being here. I would like to thank the coin. I would like to thank Paul. I would not like to thank Tim Andercust.
Tim Andergust.
That is not my name.
If it's not your name, Tim, what is your name?
Yo.
What?
See, what I didn't want to do is say it because you were going to interrupt me like The Rock, and I wasn't going to fall for that this time.
It's not what I was going to do, but okay. Now you just come off as more of a lunatic. Are you?
I know you're
Are you actually an insane person?
I know you.
It doesn't matter if you're an insane person or not, because you are. It very clearly says it on the graphic right here. Like I said, I don't know how he didn't play football and has this much brain damage.
I heard you were crying on the weekend, and you're disputing it because you weren't like profusely bawling, so you don't.
Well,
think you
that to me
cried.
is crying is bawling.
No.
I have a tear or two, maybe, but that's a mixture of dry air. Maybe I wasn't feeling-
Your take on crying is identical to your take on like mansions and like luxury automobiles. Like if
Well, then I
you're
guess
not
that's
doing
consistent.
yeah, I'll give you that. It's consistent. If you're not doing the extreme version, it means it like doesn't count.
In that instance, yes, I wouldn't call having a single tier for
Oh,
multiple reasons.
so now we've gone from a couple tiers to a single tier. Tim,
Oh, who can remember what
Tim,
it was?
are you,
I didn't-
not you, because you're a fucking insane person. You can't remember anything. You just live your truth.
I cry. I can be a crier.
you
It's
cry
healthy
on-
to
you
cry.
cry on the show
It's
like
healthy
a
to
crazy-
cry. Yeah.
Not
Listen,
about this. It's not healthy to cry.
You're right, but it's
Crying over
always-
football is not a healthy
It's
thing.
always
that means
good-
you're kind of a lunatic.
It's good to laugh. It's good to cry and limit how much you get triggered. But it's healthy to get triggered once in a while too, just not too much.
I agree with that.
Imagine doing it over something that matters.
I know. I agree.
Don't worry, Tim. You get Trevor Lawrence next year.
Yeah, well, I hope not.
You don't want Trevor Lawrence?
No, because that will have meant like a 1-15 season. And
Are you
don't need
already
that.
scouting like coordinators to see who your head coach might
not
be?
yet. I want Jim Caldwell. I don't care. I said this 2 years ago. I say it again. It's who I want. I think that guy's an excellent football coach.
He was barely alive last time we saw him. Is he still alive?
Is he a Ravens
Yes,
like
he had a
staffer?
health scare. He had a health scare last year or whatever.
Yeah, after you said you wanted him as Jets coach, he had a fucking heart attack.
Anyway, I still like the guy. That's who I'd pick. Is if I could handpick a head coach, it would be him.
It'd probably be Matt Rule.
No, I never wanted that guy to begin with.
He didn't want
Looked
the
really
Jets.
brilliant. Looked real brilliant this week.
He looked better than Adam Gase did, pal.
That was a great 4th down call. Well, no, yeah, Gase is terrible. Gase is almost in Bill O'Brien territory. And like it's hard to get there because Bill O'Brien's in a category of his own, but Gase get close.
Multiple time division winner, Bill O'Brien.
I know. I don't understand it.
Maybe the Jets should hire Bill O'Brien.
Oh, that'd be
Nah,
great.
nah,
Trade.
it's part of my.
Bill O'Brien
Bill
will trade
O'Brien.
himself to the New York Jets. All right, that'll do it. Check out the rest of the shows up on Mayo Media Network. Smash the like on the way out. I want to thank you all for watching, playing the Listeners League. Subscribe to the podcast. Go to FTN Bets or FTNDaily.com. Use code Mayo. Get yourself a discount. We'll be back later in the week. We have more golf. We have UFC. We have more football. It's all coming here for you. And a reminder, I am live every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. on Mayo Media Network. Myself and Brad Evans taking your questions and breaking down the final plays of the week. Bad prop plays, too. Big losers, all right? I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
That Mayo experience.
What was it that you wanted to say about the Chargers?
Just, it was more about Lynn. I felt after the game in 3 separate interviews, he was adamant. Yes, like coach speak, we win the turnover battle, we win the game. But he was adamant, like aggressively angry about it. And I felt in all instances, to the locker room, to the press conference, media scrum he had to do, and to a one-on-one with Chargers.com. He was aggressive in all 3 instances, and I feel it was like he was talking about Rivers without talking about Rivers, and he looked at that indie box score and chuckled.
Do you think you might be reading too much into this?
No.
Whereas Adams is actually just taking gratuitous, classless shots at his former team.
I thought it was funny.
Oh yeah, real classy.
He was everywhere, man.
Way to be a gentleman.
I watch him play, and that's what I think the Chargers are missing without Derwin James. And even if Derwin is 85% of Jamal Adams, it makes me so sad when I see Jamal
You know what?
play.
May played so well on Sunday that I wasn't too upset. We had 2 first-round picks, and May was running around all the place making plays.
Who?
The Jets made a lot of defensive plays on Sunday.
We had a couple of turnovers, yeah.
You mean the one that Josh Allen just handed to the defense?
Oh, Josh Allen's not very good.
Way better than Sam Darnold.
Well, time will tell.
Time has told. Well, how much more time do you need here? I forgot Sam Darnold's 6 years old, so in like
He's only 23.
In 22 years, he's going to be very good, isn't he?
Yeah. Okay.
Is he
All
on
right,
the
then,
Jets
Jim.
next year?
Okay,
Yes.
no, but I think, okay, maybe not, but I think the team that gets Sam Darnold is going to get like a wicked player who might be ready to break out.
Darnold to Miami?
Well, they have a quarterback, but
Not according to Tim.
I'm trying to think where it'd be funny. What if he like
Oakland?
like
The Patriots.
because Cam's like a 1 year.
Yeah, well, no.
He gets to back up Cam in New England next year and then take over for Cam and be a superstar under Bill Belichick.
All right. That's all I can handle. That's it for now.
See you later. Yeah, I don't know what kind of person goes away for the weekend like on a flight, yet you wouldn't call them like an avid traveler. That person doesn't exist.
Some people are just spontaneous.
Like who?
I just know of people in the past.
Then tell me a person.
Not to get on a plane per se, but just, we're going to go away, an hour and a half away from now and stay at a hotel or something. Like, that's what I'm talking about.
And there's no person that just randomly does that never does it again. Like, that's something that people do or they don't do.
I don't know.
You mean you should know? I'm telling you.
I mean, I'm asking in part because, I don't like
No,
traveling.
you asked, we told you, and you're like, well, I don't know. Here's my no examples of people that I know of the point I'm making. You don't like to travel, so you don't want people to travel.
I don't. I'm not outside of like my comfort zone of provinces that I know. I'm not a traveler. Although I would like to go to Montreal again soon.
I would like to go there too, especially if like Vegas is just so out of the question.
We usually go there like twice a summer. We weren't able to get up. We usually drive once and then fly once. I mean, I would hate the driving part of it, but
I would like to go. Just I haven't been to Schwartz's in a long time, and
do you want to go do the most generic things possible in Montreal?
I love Schwartz's, but
it's the best sandwich in the country, and I will say no other.
Tim, who only eats sandwiches at Schwartz's or Tim Hortons?
Subway.
There's a real vast comparison there. Schwartz's is great and everything. It's a lot of hype.
Yeah,
it's not
I agree.
significantly better than anywhere else.
It's pretty good.
It's good.
I like it, but I agree.
It is a good sandwich.
To actually be the reason to go there is pretty like insane.
It's not the only.
Schwartz's is now like an experience to go to. Like when you go and you wait in the line and then you go into it. Like it's fantastic. I like to do it too. Although I have friends that were very upset, Tim, when I didn't tell them that I was going. But We had one friend who was passed out at a bachelor party, so we didn't wake him up when we went to go because we went pretty early in the morning. Tim, me, and 2 other people. I brought him back a sandwich, like a smoked meat sandwich from the place, and he like got mad at me.
While he was eating it, he would take a bite and go, "You're an asshole." Bite.
It's actually
how would you know this?
It's actually such a horrible place to have to sit and eat at.
Yeah. Oh, it sucks.
Yeah. So like he actually got the best end of it.
Yeah, we had to go wait in line for 40 minutes.
That's actually like he got the best end of the whole deal.
The medium fat sandwich, I tell you just can't do any better.
What do you get, a Werner's or something? You seem like a Werner's.
Werner's
guy.
ginger ale is nice, but cherry cola, cherry cola is the traditional
for sure.
Is the traditional drink there
for sure.
Let's get back to these games.
Experience.